Hello and welcome to Versus Live. I'm Ross Merriam.
And I'm Corey Baumeister.
And we've got Rob in the booth. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Rob will be taking all of your questions, comments, concerns, and burns in the chat. Make sure to tag at Star City Games so he can see them and send his favorites over to us. It is our final show here at Versus Live before this weekend's SCG CON featuring the Invitational. So there's going to be no show Thursday. Everybody's going to be busy setting up. Rob literally has to carry all of the equipment by hand from Star City Games to the Berglund Center, which is about 3 miles, I would say.
Yeah. We were thinking about using a U-Haul or something, but you know what? Per usual, we just wanted to have him just carry it.
Yeah. It just seemed easier that way. And unfortunately, Rob, it's going to rain tomorrow, so you're going to want to get it done early in the morning.
Oh, good to know. I'll try to do it overnight, actually.
Yeah, you might have to actually get started in between games here, bud.
So, Rob's going to have a tough day on Thursday, so we can't do a show, unfortunately. But we're going to bring you a preview of the Modern rounds today. Standard, pretty well set. We've explored that format pretty well. You know, it's going to be those top 4 decks. Is it Dragons? Is it Epiphany? Mono, Snow, Aggro. So, no real reason to rehash those, but Modern is definitely continuing to be in a state of flux since Modern Horizons 2, and, the 2 sets since then have had some impact as well. We're going to see some faithful mendings later in this show.
And it just constantly changes within itself. Like, you think it's kind of solved, and then a new deck kind of comes up that, will, like, win a challenge, not even just kind of pop up in top 8s and stuff, and then it just keeps evolving around those and stuff. So the format is still pretty sweet, even if, Modern Horizon cards are a little overpowered. The format is still really nice.
Yeah. So we are going to bring you our choices, Corey's and mine, for our top 3 choices for the Modern portion, and we're going to end actually with the decks that we'll be playing this weekend in that half of the tournament. But what deck are you going to be starting with, which is one of the newer decks in the metagame?
Yeah, this is one of the newer evolutions. I believe Doomwake was the person who iterated on this
I believe so as well.
Was just playing a bunch of Teamer Rhinos. I watch his stream quite often, was really happy with the deck, but kind of always was adding some kind of new element to the deck. And, first, it was just Yorion. Yorion was coming down, and now it's just become basically the combination of these 4-color trade binder decks with Teamer Rhinos in them. So, you get to play Ardent Plea, you get to play Violent Outburst, you get to play Omnath. You get to just actually play a game that doesn't revolve around solely the Rhino plan. Because I think we both kind of agreed. Like, Teamer Rhinos was never on either of our radars, basically ever. It won an event, so maybe we were looking at it, considering it. Then we play it, and we're both just kind of like, this is not that impressive for a very all-in type of linear deck that can just be solved by an engineered explosives or just blocking. It's
a deck that has this linear element in an otherwise non-linear deck. It's very much a mid-range deck, and it incorporates this cascade element to it, and it makes some significant sacrifices to do that, right? You can't play a lot of the really good early interaction. No prismatic endings, no unholy heats, lightning bolts, anything like that.
Veils out of the sideboard and stuff. A lot of sideboard cards.
So you're making some significant sacrifices to put this element in your deck. And for the most part, people are pretty well prepared for it. They've got Teferis in their main deck that stop cascades. They've got, engineered explosives, which are good against, the hammer decks around, but also clear up Rhinos very easily.
Flusterstorm popped up.
Yeah, Flusterstorm's in a lot of sideboards. Chalice the Void's in a lot of sideboards. Void Mirrors in some sideboards. That one's declined a little bit recently.
Yeah,
but
that one's just not a good card. But
there's plenty of ways to, to prepare yourself for this element of the deck. And it didn't seem like it was worth it to me.
Same.
To add that, and because the sacrifices you had to make in deck building made your mid-range plan that much worse. And that was the problem for me. I never felt like I was winning games without Rhinos.
Ever. Outside of the Rhinos deck, all felt like facilitators to me. Brazen Borrower is not going to win a game. It's going to help you out. It's a 2-mana bounce spell that doesn't doesn't cascade off Cascade.
Fury is about the only card that felt like it could win games outside of that, and only in the right matchups, right? Against Hammer, sometimes you just Fury them, and they lose their entire board, and they're crippled. But your mid-range plan just wasn't well fleshed out because of the deck-building sacrifices that you had to make to get the Cascade plan online. Now, with 20 extra cards, it feels like that mid-range plan is a lot more fleshed out. With the Omnaths and the Solitudes and all the other cards that the deck can play. So I like that the deck seems to be in better balance between those two aspects that it has.
Yeah, totally agree. Being able to also just like beat a 5/6 Tarmogoyf. You know, like that kind of thing was just always a big deal. A bigger Death Shadow, you know, constructs that become 5/5s. When you're just relying on like Brazen Borrow bouncing them, it's not great. But when you can have Solitude with all these extra cards to throw away to just clear up blockers, I like that element. So I would say this would be probably the third deck that I'd be considering for the tournament.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
What about
I'm
you?
going to be reprising a deck I played last week, I believe.
I
Maybe
think it was a
2
week
weeks.
before.
Maybe it was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And this is going to be Gruul Belcher. You know, since the time I played it, Sodek won a challenge with it.
Yeah.
And there were several others littered through the top 32, so it started getting a little press. I know Dom Harvey wrote an article about it last week, which I have read and is very good, so you can check that out now, or after the show, I mean.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah.
But this is, I think the deck is just a good spell-based combo deck,
Yeah.
and I was really close to playing it, but ultimately I decided that for a lot of different factors that I go into in my article, which went up today, which just explains the decks that I am playing. For a lot of different factors, I thought this metagame for the modern portion was going to be very unpredictable. And
Wild West. That's what I was
Yeah.
expecting as well.
so
Yeah.
I didn't really want to bring a linear deck into that kind of field, because even though I think the online metagame is underprepared for Belcher, and you know, a Wild West metagame is going to be more prepared, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
Anytime if I'm playing a linear deck in Modern, I need to be very much under the radar. That's where I am. The reactive cards are just too powerful. If they're playing the right ones, you're not going to have a good time.
Yep.
So I didn't want to play a linear deck into a field that unpredictable, so I ended up shying against it. But if you're playing online right now, this is a deck I definitely recommend, though it is a very difficult deck to play.
Yeah.
As we found out when I played it the first time.
Yeah, really tricky. We played it against like a bunch of counter spells, and
Yeah.
we just had a stack like, you know, a mile long and stuff. Not going to be happening here as much. I'm going to be trying to get you dead with rhinos and just see if that's fast enough.
Yeah.
And honestly, it very well might not be. You can kill pretty quickly, so
Kill turn 2.
I'm a little worried. Yeah, I cannot kill you turn 2. So shall we get into it?
Yeah.
All right.
The issue with the last deck we played against Belcher was that it was a control deck that just didn't have much of a clock.
Yeah,
It was like, is it
yeah.
Murktide with just Murktide and none of the red creatures?
Yeah, that's right.
So without Murktide, you just had no real clock, and I was able to play through your counter spells because I had time to play around
Yep.
them. Here with a little bit more pressure, I'm a little more scared, but you don't have nearly as many counter spells. So
Nowhere near as many,
You need to find
so-
the counters.
Yep, exactly. And you know, and I think this kind of deck is going to be somewhat popular, you know, as long as people can afford the deck, because it is. We did look, and it was like $2,000 for one of these decks when you add 20 cards to them. But I still think people will play these style of decks. They're pretty popular right now. All right, so you are on the play. It seems like I won last week.
And I will be keeping my hand.
I'm going to keep. It's definitely just a keepable hand, but I don't think I can just power mulligan to like all the hate cards that I have so very few of in a Yorion deck, so I'm going to try it.
Okay, I'm going to lead on Song Mad Ruins.
Okay. The staple, right?
Yes. The most common opening in all of Modern.
All right, I got to breeding pull it up fast.
It's an interesting card. I will play a Spikefield Cave
Okay.
and a Strike It Rich.
Striking it rich, okay.
Make a treasure.
Sure.
Pass the turn.
Oops. All right. Well, I don't think this card does a lot outside of, you know, something very minor like this. So I'm going to take 2 and petty theft the treasure.
I will sacrifice the treasure in response.
Good call.
so
Okay.
that
Past
no
you.
brazen borrowers come down. And that was actually incredibly annoying. I hate you. I will take 3 for a Shatter Skull smashing.
Okay.
Or for a Shatter Skull, I should say.
Okay.
Got a 17 and flashback, Strike It Rich.
You're striking it rich, huh?
Got another brazen borrower for me.
Maybe. Maybe. All right, now I got some choices. Do I want to start pressuring, or do I want to try to interact with your Ryan or Overturf over there? Kind of thinking. So for land, you can just have Ironcrag Feet and Belcher me and win the game like that. So, but your deck doesn't play a ton of untapped lands. You know, like there's not a lot of them. There's a decent amount, but think I'm going to hope that you don't have it, and I'm going to Teferi Time Rattler and bounce.
I will sacrifice it in response to stop the draw.
Okay. Then it's going to be your turn after I get a duel of some variety. I'll get a
Oh my god.
Am I doing it?
You're at 15?
Yeah.
That fairy is also really annoying.
Yeah. Good.
Annoying to the point where I think I might kill it.
Really? I didn't think it was that annoying to you, game one.
Stops Reforge the Soul.
Oh, okay.
The Miracle.
Okay. Oh, that's fair.
So I could kill this Teferi, or I can draw a whole bunch of cards.
Okay.
The Teferi also stops me from like finding my Pact of Negation to protect against a force.
Yep. That's fair.
So those two cards are pretty important.
Okay.
I'm not under any pressure. Yeah, I'm just gonna Shatter Skull Smashing the Teferi for one.
Okay. This is a normal game of Belcher we're playing here, right? Okay, that was a pretty decent draw. I'm going to go with Ardent Plea.
Okay. That is much better for me than Shardless Agent.
Just a little extra pressure.
Yeah, well, I'm at 17, so the 8 power is a 3-turn clock.
Gotcha.
So presumably you should be able to find a point next turn.
Yeah. All right, I got some rhinos, and I'll pass to you.
Well, that's certainly interesting. I'll cast Strike It Rich.
Okay.
I will sack the treasure for green.
Okay.
And cast Recross the Paths.
Okay, Recross the Path is just where you stack your deck kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that seems fine to me. I don't like it, but Recross the Path, huh? And you're at 17?
Yep.
I'll think this one out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna force it. Not 100%.
Okay. Now I think I don't have time to cast this Valakut Awakening, so I'm just going to play it as a tapped land.
Okay. Done.
Yep.
Alright. I'm gonna go with Omnath. Blue, white, green, red.
Yep.
Undraw. And I'll attack for 8.
I'm at 9.
Past you.
This draw has to be really good.
Okay.
Like, really good.
Yeah, I drew the force. It's probably correct to force that, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because otherwise you just put a pact on top and then that blanks my force is kind of my thought process, but
Yeah. Either I'm digging for another piece or I'm digging for interaction, and either way, just stopping me.
Yeah, agreed. Drum roll?
I'm at 9. I don't have a way to draw a card.
I like that.
Yeah, all I can do is recross the paths and die.
Okay,
Set up for next turn.
Gotcha, yeah, I did not have anything else,
Yeah.
but drew that force at the perfect time, I imagine.
Lost the race by a turn.
Yeah, I had a couple different ways to force through extra damage. Had the Violent Outburst as well, or Prismari Command, or just Omnath attacking there at that point.
Yeah, not that hard to find it. Maybe I couldn't afford to take the turn off with the Teferi, but my hand was not that good, so I was pretty sure I needed to recross the path for Reforge the Soul.
Reforge the Soul is what you were going to put on top?
Yeah.
Okay.
So your force would have been good the next turn.
Yeah,
but you don't know that. But
Yeah.
my hand just wasn't that good.
Yeah.
I kept a hand with recross the paths and a bunch of red mana and strike it rich, and you just spent a bunch of time stopping me from getting green mana.
Yeah.
And my draws just weren't that good. Like
You were not rich with treasure that game at all. I was taken from I don't know, I guess taken from the poor. You were trying to strike it rich.
Yeah, you're the one with the marbles.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, everyone, that does it for the first game. I don't think I'm supposed to win that game, so I feel pretty good taking that one down. So
a little disruption, a little pressure, and a force negation. That's the recipe.
that's true. These forces are just in the main in this deck. That does help. I probably don't have that much. That is really helping me out in the sideboard.
The cupcakes came out fully cooked there. That was a good recipe.
Sure, we'll go with what he said. So we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with sideboarding here on Versus Live.
Welcome back to Versus Live, where we are sideboarding in our matchup between Gruul Belcher and Yorion Rhinos. On my side of things, Veil of Summer is the card of my sideboard I really want, because most of Corey's Disruption is via counter spells. So the question is, what do we bring out? I do have the option of bringing in the Pyromancer Ascension and getting these loops going. I don't actually think that's necessary in a matchup like this.
Bad against Teferi, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, though usually you just set it up and do it all in one turn.
Yeah, that's
right?
fair. That's fair.
But if you happen to draw the Ascension early and go for it, you also set it up usually with Reforge the Soul, so that part of it is bad against Teferi, actually. So in that sense, it's not particularly good. I think these Ascension loops are generally at their best against decks that potentially have Pithy Needles, like Urza Saga decks.
Okay.
So they can just shut down your Belchers. And I think decks that just have discard, because then you're much more reliant on Recross the Paths.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and then Recross the Paths sets everything up with Ascension. So in a matchup like this...
Basically anything that's not white. Any non-white deck, I think right now it's pretty decent against, but white just has Prismatic Ending, Teferi, Time Raveler, and that's the only colors that can deal with enchantment still, which is kind of wild. Yeah. You know, besides cards...
Green has Force of Vigor too. This could also break it up, right? If my opponent brings in Force of Vigor and things like that. So just worried. Yeah, you can worry about
these kind of decks. These decks are going to be bringing a lot of randomness, because Yorion decks by design are just... It's all a product of what you have to take out. So you're going to bring in a lot of cards that are okay, so that could fall victim to that. You're right.
Yeah, so once I decide that I don't want to be setting up those Ascension loops, the Pact of the Titan Infernal Plunge, not really that necessary. They're good with Reforge the Soul, but I'm also going to trim one of those and just leave myself with the one.
Okay.
Not a big fan of Reforge the Soul in any Teferi matchup.
Yeah.
Still want the one, because you never know, you might need the option. And then I'm trimming one Ironcrag Feat, just because it's awkward with Pact Negation, which is a card I like in the matchup. It's also somewhat awkward with Veil, because I have to Veil first, because I can't Veil after the feat.
Yep.
So just an awkward card when I'm trying to win through counterspells.
Yeah.
So trimming one of those to make room for the 4 Veils.
Nope, makes sense to me. Okay, and then from my end, really just a product of you not having any creatures, so Fury and Solitude are both really bad.
I'm boarding out my one creature.
You're boarding out your one creature, exactly. So even Dispute, not a very good card, but it can at least do something. Force of Vigor, also not very good, even though you do win with an artifact. You win when you activate it the turn you play it. And Endurance is coming in because, I can get Strike It Rich's flashback, but I can also just pressure. So if I don't have Rhinos, I guess I at least want to start doing something. But to be fair, this sideboard is exactly what Modern is kind of like right now against this deck.
Yeah.
It's not prepared for it. And that's the thing. I think you said it perfectly at the beginning of the show. In a normal tournament where the pandemic hasn't reshaped everything as our first big tournament back, this is going to be great. For a challenge, I think that is a really strong deck to be choosing right now, because it doesn't fall to any of these deck constraints that some other combo decks had before, and you get to play 4 Veil of Summer. That is one thing I've always been a huge endorser of, is whenever you're playing this kind of combo deck that can also play green, like Saheeli being the first one for me. I remember seeing a lot of Saheeli lists from Canister and stuff when he played it a little bit on his stream and was just playing 1-2 Veils. I'm like, this is a combo deck that plays Forest and Abundant Growth. Play 4 of those, jam them on it. It's still one of the best cards at pushing through a combo, and that deck gets to do that, so it's pretty nice.
No matter what combo you're playing, you're going to be fearful of counter spells and discard spells.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the universal combo killers, so Veil of Summer stopping both of them.
Yeah.
At 1 mana and drawing a card,
Veil of Summer is still one of the most ridiculous cards that just isn't played that often, which is crazy to me. But, there's not just that many good green decks right now. Jund Saga is okay, but not a ton of just green decks, that aren't already 4 or 5 colors. And I think the bigger deal actually is the printing of Unholy Heat and Prismatic Ending has completely shifted the balance of disruption away from black. So there's just fewer black decks around, which means not only fewer black removal spells, but also less discard in the metagame. And that has made Veil less useful. So now it's mostly an counterspell card, and for the most part, people are playing Flusterstorm because that also counters Cascade. Yeah. And I think another product of that is these Yorion decks that are popping up. discard has always just been laughable to them. When Yorion was in Standard, when Yorion was in Modern, every single time, like, I think Thought Scour was in Standard, right, when Yorion started becoming popular, and it's just like, oh, I can never play this. Like, you have this that's going to be here on turn 8, where all this redundant card draw that gets blinked out and
all
stuff.
my omens and abundant growths or whatever.
It translates into Standard, too, with all of these Ice Fang Quaddles, abundant growths, all these things like that. Hand Disruption's not very good against them. So,
yeah. Just too much redundant cantripping.
Exactly. Okay, I'm guessing you want to go first?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, let's battle. How's your hand?
I will... I'm going to keep.
Mine, I feel like this deck is a lot more focused on its opening hands, and it's not your typical Yorion deck on the draw where you can just kind of keep some loose hands because you're going to draw into so much value. You really need specific hands, and especially against a combo deck. So I'm going to mulligan this. Few too many lands. All right.
You had your sideboard card.
I know. yeah, I had the worst sideboard card, that's for sure.
Hey, you brought in the perfect squeeze, Mystical Dispute Endurance. You hold them up on turn 3, I don't know what to do. I'm either getting mana leaked for 3 mana, or you're going to get a 3/4. I can't beat either of them.
3/4 that does not do anything to the ability. Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. If only it shuffled your library, if it shuffled cards in instead of just put them at the bottom, that could be good. You're like, recross the path. I have a response.
That would be messed up if it was, if it was just Loaming Shaman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could just play Field of Ruin, too, I guess, right?
Now you're just making my Belchers deal more damage.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I will keep this. Now I just want to think what I want to get rid of, and it's probably just this. Let me see if my mana can actually work with that. Red, blue, it could just be a Teamer deck. Okay. Perfect.
Spikefield Cave.
All right. Not a bad draw there. I'm going to take 3 and suspend a Rhino.
17.
I think I needed Stomping Ground. Yeah, we'll get a Stomping Ground.
I will play a Balagad Sanctuary.
Okay.
And pass the turn.
Okay. Balagad, eh? All right. Untap. This goes to 3. I will play a land, and I'll pass to you. Upkeep. I'm going to try to ice down this. Ice, baby. Bum, 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 ba-rum, bum.
Sure.
I'll draw.
I'll play Songmad Ruins.
Okay. This goes to 2. I'll draw. And I'll go with a Shardless Agent.
Yep.
Rhinos. Put some pressure on ya. Dun dun dun. This would be so annoying to have to do in the tournament too. Not only shuffle a Yorion deck, which I haven't done outside of just playing Magic against you, for the last 3 years, but also just having to cascade into this every single time. Kind of annoying. All right. You want to check them out?
Yep.
All right. You're min-max, and I like it.
Most of your deck, we got 1 Dispute, 1 Force of Negation. 2 Dispute.
Uh-oh.
Jesus, only 2 Disputes and 1 Force? How many Prismari commands we got?
Yeah, all the forces are in my hand.
I see 2 commands. I see the Force of Vigor.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not good.
Your go. All right.
That will play.
Uh-oh.
That will play. I will cast a Recross the Paths.
Recrossing the paths. That's probably pretty bad for me. Which one of my 4 forces should I use here? I'm gonna force. I'll get rid of... Got 2 options. One could be really good if I top deck a land for it, so I better do that. Okay.
Okay.
I figure when you have your green mana tapped, I might as well get it in while I can.
Is there any world in which I cast Valakut Awakening next turn? I've got to kill you next turn. So how would that even work? I would have 1 mana left over and a land drop to make, which is enough to start trying to draw into rituals.
Okay,
but
I like that.
1, 2...
So you're saying you needed that
3,
recross the
4, I'd see 5 cards. I would need to see... Yeah, it's just too many things I would need. Valakut Stoneforge, pass.
All right, this is down to 1. All right, well, that was pretty good. I'll correct this.
Get a 16.
Yep. And I guess Temple Garden is fine.
14.
All right. Then I have a Teferi.
Sure.
And I will bounce nothing, draw a card, and attack for 10.
I'm at 10.
Pass to you.
Okay, I got 2 draws at it.
I have a piece of instant speed disruption, is all I'm saying. 2 draws at the old Belcheroo.
Play Manamorphose.
Okay.
I'll make a red-green.
Okay.
Go to 3 red.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Okay.
I can cast Reforge the Soul, but I don't have a mana left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had the Ironcrag feed, never found a
Plus,
Belcher.
I had the endurance, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, this was the big difference from when you just kind of, I wouldn't say destroyed me. We went to 5 games the last time,
Yeah.
but it was close and it felt like you were always in the driver's seat. It might have been the most boring match we've ever played on versus live history. For
you,
me,
it was
looked
very
fun.
interesting.
But the just amount of pressure here with 1 key piece of disruption, that felt a lot tougher for you. And I was always saying, my pick at the time was Grixis Death Shadow. And I always felt like I would destroy you with that because it's like a good mix of pressure. I can take as much damage as I want, plus I have this instant speed disruption. I don't know if that's for sure true, but it seemed really good for me. And this is a similar vein where it's not even as fast, doesn't even have as much disruption, and, still was able to get these first 2, but...
You've done the things that you need to do with the way your draws worked out.
Yeah.
In my case, it was just, I was always just 1 card off. If I found a Belcher there, if I found an untapped land, so I could moon you a little earlier, though the ice was what threw me off. If I found a ritual to moon you earlier, something like that.
Yeah, you can moon me on Twitch. That's against the terms of service.
Yeah, I was a little late finding the Veil. If I was able to, you
didn't have it when I iced you?
No, I drew Desperate Veil on the last 2 draws.
Okay.
But if I have the Veil the turn before, I had Manamorphose to net a 2nd green.
Yeah.
So I can use Manamorphose to cast while leaving up Balagad. And have recross the paths with Veil. If you let the recross the paths resolve,
I was probably dead, huh?
Because I have Manamorphose in hand, I can draw Veil for turn, lead on Manamorphose, find the Belcher off of that.
Yeah.
And that's why when I said my draw played, it was Turn Timber. I mean, I need another land to make that play work.
Oh, gotcha.
So I could have the Veil up. So I needed that untapped land a little earlier. No, maybe I should be mulliganing these hands, but they all seem fine.
Yeah.
And then, your hands have been good, and my draws after. I need 1 really good draw at some point. It just hasn't been happening.
Yeah. Well, we got time for a pity game at least. You can try to make it happen here. Rob, do you got any questions for us while we shuffle up for this 3rd game?
Yeah. Do you feel this Yorian build of Crashgate is any better? Is any noticeable amount better than just the normal 60 card teamer version?
I think so. I bet there's certain matches where you lose a little bit. of consistency. You know, this being one of them, where just less chances of drawing force. But I think overall, you get more cascade effects, right? Because you get Ardent Plea.
Well, your deck is a 33% bigger, and you get 50% more cascade effects. So you have slightly higher density of cascade effects, but it's.
But you have a less likely chance, and this is kind of the math that I learned from the Sultai Ultimatum decks, is you have a less likely chance of drawing the cards you don't want to, and that's Crashing Footfalls, you know, which is also nice. I think it's better just because it is not all in as the other one, because if I'm playing against you and you're on normal teamer and I bring in 3 EEs and 3 chalices for 0, like there's a chance you just never get to play Magic. Here, at least, if you bring in that same thing and be like, okay, I'm not, you know, you just kind of shrug at those hate cards. And I like that versatility from decks. I hate being the all-in, you know, you're dead if this happens to you. Like even Death Shadow, you know, one of the decks I'm considering, is that deck relies on the graveyard a decent amount, but if you rest in peace me, I'm not like, pack them in. You know, I can win with creatures on the battlefield. I just don't get Crocs, that kind of thing. And I think Modern is about that right now, where hate cards are so powerful that you really have to have kind of a plan B when you see them, instead of always trying to push through. And Teamer just always had to push through. And, you know, I've seen plenty of matches where Teamer Cascade just gets completely run out of rhinos. They just kill them all. They either got all countered or they got all EE'd.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they lose because of it.
And one gets traded from a Teferi that got suspended earlier or something like that. Yeah, I very much agree. I think we talked about it before we started the match, that fleshing out the fair mid-range, the non-cascade aspect of the deck is the real advantage that you gain by going with the 4-color build with Yorion. And that is a major gain, because the non-cascade portion of the Teamer Crashcade deck is not particularly powerful.
Yeah.
You know, you have good interaction, but you don't really have ways to take over the game. So you're really dependent on that aspect of your deck, and now you're no longer in that boat. You have the Omnaths. You have Yorion itself.
Although Yorion is not good in this deck. Like, it's especially bad in this deck. The canister one, I think that's the two big differences.
You can't play any of the cheap cantrips.
Yeah, you can't play any of the cheap cantrip. So which one do you think you like better? I picked this one because it was more of the flavor of the week, and I think it's going to be more popular than the canister build. It's the canister one, I feel, is a lot less flashy.
Yeah.
But it revolves more around like the actual, you know, creatures and stuff. Which one do you like better?
I like the non-cascade version, to be honest.
I think I do too as well, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, Doomway dominates with this as well. They both, you know, kind of crush it all the time. But
there's a lot of, honestly, I'm more afraid from a linear deck's perspective, this matchup. I'm more afraid of this version.
Oh, for sure.
Because of the pressure that the Rhinos provide.
For sure. So but I do not expect that in high numbers.
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe a 2%er.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of mid-range stuff this weekend, and so I'd rather just be the more normalized version that just has lots of good interaction and is very consistent in what it's doing. And in a mid-range matchup, taking advantage of your companion, also really important.
Yeah,
because you always have access to it in a long game. You know, you just always have this Haymaker sitting around that's going to be a 4/5 flyer that draws 2, 3, maybe even more than that. So
feels wrong that I went away from my Yorion, you know, roots here, and I'm not going to be playing it, but...
You know,
all right, how's your hand?
Sometimes we all have to spread our wings.
I know, I hate it.
My hand looks very good, except for the fact that it only has 1 land.
What do you mean? You have no land.
So I think I got to send it back.
All right, I'm gonna keep. It needs you know, just one piece of help here, and then this hand is actively pretty strong, so I'm in.
Top 2 cards for lands.
Huh?
The top 2 cards for my deck.
Of course.
Also, Ross, I know it's not in your deck right now, but chat wanted to know if you did indeed learn the Pyromancer loops.
No, that's why I left it in his sideboard, y'all.
I have a rudimentary understanding.
Yeah. Okay.
Did the Discord help out with that?
But, I mean, it's pretty easy. You just cast Manamorphose and then cast Balagad Recovery and return Manamorphose and something else, and you kind of keep doing that. And just in the middle of the loop, you've got to return a Desperate Ritual, and you keep another one in your hand, and then you keep splicing, because Splice works really well with Ascension. Because Splice adds the effect to the original spell, so when you copy it, you get a double Splice as well.
Okay.
So it becomes a 4-mana spell that adds 12 red.
Not bad. Not a bad ramp spell. Yeah, that seems like a mess to, you know, have just in your brain for that whole tournament. A mess of things.
Yeah.
But I know people that love these style of decks are happy to go the extra mile for that small edge that you probably won't see during a tournament.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those ridiculous lines that you have to memorize so that you get to big brain people.
Oh, yeah. It's just every KCI player has now moved into this Belcher thing. They just renamed the Discord from KCI to Belcher. Like,
My favorite was, when I was getting Vendilion clicked playing Storm and Legacy, and you would brainstorm in response and show them a hand that led them into taking the exact card you wanted, knowing that the card on top meant that taking that was irrelevant. But they didn't really know that. Like, you might be next leveling them and like showing them that hand and trying to get them, and you just always walked them into it. It was perfect.
oh yeah. And I've learned playing against you that anytime something seems very obvious where you had a response beforehand, you're always trying to trick me, so I'll do something else, and you're like, oh, dang it.
Why are you such a jerk?
Yeah, exactly. Even if it was like
Just
wrong.
always be unpredictable.
Exactly.
Okay, this is a fine 6.
All right.
I will lead on my Spikefield Cave.
Okay. I will lead on my Triumph, and I'll pass to you.
Triumph.
Triumph.
At least it's a tap land, so we're on even footing.
That's true. Since most of your deck is tap lands.
Okay. Valagat Sanctuary, Striker Rich.
Also, someone in chat said you got it wrong, but
Pass the turn.
Let's not even go through this again, please. Please.
I mean, I didn't go through it step by step. In the middle, you just find the Desperate Rituals to get the mana, and then you use Valagat Recovery and Manamorphose to like actually do the loop.
Yeah, hey, I believe you.
That's not that hard.
Okay. I have a couple options here. And I think with the texture of my hand, I want to just do my action on your upkeep.
At the end, you have to start looping with Strike It Rich so you don't draw your deck. And then you can still use Strike It Rich to turn the red mana
there you
into
go.
other colors.
There you go. You just you figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I left that part out.
That part out
That's
on
mostly
purpose.
irrelevant.
All right, I'm going to say go. Upkeep, I'm going to crack this. And what do I want to get? Probably this. Yeah, I'll get a breeding pool, and then I'll try to ice down your red source.
That's fine.
Okay.
Draw.
Yep. I don't have ice, but I just wanted to do that. Okay.
Okay. It's a bit annoying, but I guess I can't do anything about it.
Yay.
So I will take 3, go to 17.
Flashback
for
strike it,
Emeria.
Rich, eh?
No, I will be casting a Blood Moon.
Blood Moon? Oh.
Yeah, that's the other combo in the deck. Cast Blood Moon and hope your opponent can't do anything.
Well, luckily I can, but... I guess let's get rid of... Brazen Borrower.
That goes the other way.
That was my decision, was to Brazen Borrower the token, but I didn't have land 3 or ice, but luckily I found land 3. And I will say go.
I will flashback Strike It Rich.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right, end step, I'll crack this.
You go to 16.
Yeah, we'll probably take some more. My life total doesn't really matter at all. Just want to make sure I have a bunch of different colors. So yeah, I'll go to 14. And I will cast Violent Outburst.
Yep.
All right. Rhinos, 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 rhinos. Oops. I saw that card. I better shuffle that one down. All right, so I got some rhinos. And untap, draw. I will attack.
9.
And now I'm in a tough spot here of what to do. God. Yeah, I think I just say go.
Draw.
Yep.
That does not do anything. Can I possibly win?
Your draws haven't been as belchery as the other time that you've been belching me.
It seemed like Corey had a counter spell on the last turn, so I was trying to play around it, but if you had rhinos, I got really punished.
Yeah.
It seems like you just had both. And I think in order to beat both, I needed to draw another mana source this turn, either an untapped land or another ritual.
Okay.
And I drew a tapped land, of course. But
yes.
I think if it was,
you do have a lot of them.
I think if it was an untapped land, I would be fine.
Okay.
Oh no, I wouldn't be. Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. I thought with an untapped land I could set up a Reforge the Soul, but I've already drawn a card this turn, so I can't miracle it. So if that is the case, what can I draw off this Manamorphose to potentially win the game? I don't think it's anything. I guess I should have just gone for the recross last turn. Gonna feel really silly if Corey didn't have a mystical dispute. That's what it seemed like he had.
Yeah.
I'll Pyretic Ritual though.
Okay.
It's 3 red.
Okay.
I will Manamorphose, I guess. 1 red floating.
I do have a mystical dispute, and I'm thinking if I just do it here, what do you do? Like, even if you had Veil, I don't think that would do it, so you can't really pay, so yeah, I'll try it. Maybe that's a mistake, but...
And I have 1 red floating?
Yeah.
Okay. Use that floating mana to cast a Recross the Paths.
Okay.
And after I set up my deck, I have a tapped land. Well, I have Pact for that,
Oh!
but unfortunately I can't win on my upkeep.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I have the 2 damage to force it through. I guess that's all it would have had. Oh, that would not have helped.
Man.
I did have both, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the games just came down to your draws just assembled what you needed to assemble.
But I mean, this deck does feel like it does that a decent amount of times, you know? Like, because this deck can mulligan quite well because you really just need one of those effects and 3 lands, and then even if you just have 1 other good card, that's fine on 5. 2 other, obviously, 2 extra cards, 3 extra cards, it's better, you know, it goes up, but that's really all you need. 3 land, 1 cascade effect, 1 other good card, and that's a functioning 5-card hand. You know, certain matchups, that's not going to cut it, right? Like, you play against something with a lot of hand disruption, that's not necessarily going to be great. Mulliganing in general is not good against them, but for the most part, your deck can function on 5 against a deck that's not trying to rip your hand apart or interact constantly, which linear combo decks fit that mold. But.
Yep. And really the difference that you see here versus the match that we played a couple weeks ago against the Teamer control deck is the importance of pressure against combo.
Yeah.
You had less disruption than that Teamer deck. So, when, you know, anytime somebody's looking at a deck list, you see, oh, one deck just has 4 Force of Negation and some bad counter spells in the sideboard. You know, the other deck has Archmage's Charm and Counterspell, and there's probably even more than that.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, I'll take the deck with more disruption. But when you're trying to kill them with Ice Fang Coatls or find a spot past turn 4 where you can spend 2 mana on a Murktide and still feel protected in the face of Pact of Negation or Veil of Summer, then you know, things get really awkward. But the fact that you just had that consistent turn 3, I'm making 8 to 10 power depending on if I have Shardless Agent as my Cascade card or not, is a huge deal. And then when you combine that with Force, you're able to tap out, make those rhinos, and still protect for the turn. It really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and the fact that I just learned how to play against it a little bit more from that first time. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I let your Recross the Path resolve every time. Like, yeah, that card seems awful.
Yeah, it's the best card in the deck.
Exactly. And I mean, that's one thing that, you know, that will happen at the tournament. There's going to be a lot of people that don't know how to play against that deck, and you would get some free wins with it. So I still think that deck is not an awful choice, but if it has a bad Rhino matchup, which I think it might, because you get to play Force and you get to be fast, and actual team of Rhinos, I think, are going to be even better against this if this is already good at it, right?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Teamer is definitely better in this matchup. But yeah, that was an impressive showing from the Rhino deck. And
I was surprised that I think we both thought, I was like, you're going to probably kick my butt here in this match, but
yeah, just draws came a little bit slow. And if if you saw my hands, I basically had the win a turn after you did every time.
Yeah.
And so I was able to run you out of disruption, but you were able to kill me right in time to deny me that last turn. So those games, they didn't really look that close.
Yeah.
In reality, they were pretty close, and it's really that huge burst that you get from the Rhinos on turn 3, even more so than a clock that somebody gets from a Tarmogoyf for just one threat.
Oh yeah,
that significant amount of presence, and that it's usually either a 2 or 3 turn clock. Often, there it was a 2, because I dealt myself 3, and that happens quite often. I've got 12 bolt lands.
Or I can usually find a way to either like play an Omnath, Prismari command you, Violent Outburst, and then attack. Like there's some solid ways to push through.
If I deal myself no damage, then you need to deal 4 extra, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's the Shardless Agent, in which case you're set. That's just 10.
Yeah, Shardless Agent is by far the best one still. That's for sure.
Really the importance of pressure, and I harp on this a lot because I think a lot of people, when they play against linear decks, just stack their deck full of disruption and think, okay, I'll just shut them down and then the game will be over.
Yeah.
And that's just not how it works. They draw a card every turn. Eventually they'll reload. You need to end the game. The onus is on you when you play against a linear strategy to get the game over with, once you're done interacting with them.
Very true.
And this deck did it very well.
Very true. All right, that's going to do it for our first match here of the decks that our top 3 considerations. We're going to be culminating with the deck we're actually both playing at the end, and it's a pretty good matchup too. So that's going to be a fun one. We'll leave you in the dark on that one for now. But people that have read your articles, watched my streams, you probably have a pretty good idea. But for the next one, the other deck I was considering is just a Azorius control deck. Maybe being Jeskai or whatever, but control in some form. The reason why I'm a little afraid to do it is because, once again, it's going to be the wild, wild west out here, and control is the type of strategy that really preys on a condensed metagame. Like, right away when Regavan was dominating and it was all Regavan DRC decks, control was quite good.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when control first started really rising up.
Exactly. Prismatic command or prismatic ending to Fairy, Solitude, those things against that style of decks is awesome. But there's plenty of holes that, controllers cannot be prepared for everything. You can't be prepared to beat Beltertron, Burn, and Ragavan decks easily, So that's what scared me away from it. But I do think Prismatic Ending and Teferi are, 2 of the best cards in the format right now. So that's why I'm going to be trying that one out.
And I will be playing another Prismatic Ending Teferi deck.
Yep.
This one, a little bit controlling. It's 4C creativity, but it's got that combo kill at the end. And this deck has really morphed into a much more controlling deck. It initially started as that Velomachus, Lorehold, combo deck with a bunch of Time Walks, and we've cut all of those. We're just putting Emrakul and Sarah's Emissary onto the battlefield.
Okay.
Don't have to, turbo it out on turn 4, though you can. And it's nice to have that option and make your opponent think about that.
Yeah, up against Burn or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, yeah.
Because then you just name instant or sorcery, and you get protection too with the emissaries. You shut down a lot of their burn. But I just like the controlling elements. I think Ren and 6 and Teferi and Prismatic Ending are a great package. A lot of other decks use that package, the 4-color blink decks that we talked about. I just like having the really over-the-top win condition to go along with it.
All your decks are just the worst, man. They're all just the absolute worst. But you know what? That's what the show is today, and I'm going to be forced to play against all of them.
Here's the thing about the way I play Magic, Corey, is I really just don't want to play 20-turn games.
Yeah.
You love playing 20-turn games. Once the game gets to like turn 6 for me, I'm just like, please, just somebody end it. I want to go do something between rounds. Let's just end the game.
You got some catching up to do with friends and stuff. Okay.
Some catchphrase maybe.
Hey, good call. Hey, that's a good call. Yeah, we got to bring that. All right, everyone. Well, we are going to take a short 5-minute break, and we'll be right back with that matchup here on Versus Live. So don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, welcome back to Versus Live. My name is Corey Baumeister.
And I'm Ross Merriam.
And we got Rob in the booth. Say what's up, Rob.
What's up, Rob?
Rob will be taking all your questions, comments, concerns, and the burns in the chat. Make sure to tag at Star City Games, and he will get his favorite ones sent over to us. Today, we are just getting ready. It's our last show before the SCG Invitational. I'm getting pumped. I don't know about you.
I'm trying to keep it even keeled so I don't get too pumped too early.
Too pumped
It's
too
a,
early.
it's a long weekend. I'm an old man.
That's
so
true.
You'll be pumped as soon as you have decks together, right?
Yeah, that too.
That's a good point.
As
I
soon
got a
as
lot
my
of
decks
stuff to
are
get ready.
constructed and together, and I don't have to worry about that, then I'll start getting more pumped.
Yeah. I mean, we'll definitely be talking about this plug at the end, but selling your cards to SCG is what Ross is currently doing to get that store credit to then buy his decks here. So you gotta love it. I mean, it's a good deal. I did the same. I have a lot of store credit ready. That bonus bucks back is nice.
I just wanted to downsize my collection. I've got a bunch of cards that I haven't played in 10 years. And tired of hanging on to.
Exactly. I had 22 of those cryptic commands that we got for promos if you make day 2 or something.
Million cryptic commands, million progenitus, a million emrakles, and a million Gristlebrants.
Nice.
I had a bunch of all of them.
Wow, the converted mana cost of your collection is through the roof. So
let's hope that translates well.
It won't. But anyways, so we are just playing all the modern decks that we are really considering. I think both of us have pretty much locked it in because, probably like a lot of y'all that are coming, you gotta just choose at one point because, we gotta all order the cards because we haven't been buying them throughout while we've been playing and slowly amassing
Maybe
all
you
our
have.
collections.
We have not.
Yeah, okay. I'm just assuming that everyone's the same as me and the friend group we have here that just did not collect cards.
Listen, what's the point of Twitter Cloud if you can't just borrow cards from people?
That's a good point. Yeah.
I owned a single standard. I shouldn't say standard legal, but card from a standard legal set.
Okay.
And it was a Blight Step Pathway I bought over the summer to play F&M.
Nice.
I put one Blight Step Pathway into my Rakdos Sacrifice deck.
Nice. Yeah, and I think the only F&M we played was a Modern Horizon draft, so we got Modern Horizon cards, not standard legal.
I got a Rago.
Yeah, I did open a Rago, which was pretty nice. But anyways, the show we are doing today, y'all, we are just playing our top 3 modern decks that we were considering. We have both narrowed it down to the final deck that we're going to be playing. And, basically the list that I'm going to be playing as well. I'm sure it's probably the one you're going to submit as well.
Within 3 cards, I'm sure.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking as well. So
everything always changes on Thursday by 2 cards.
Yes, exactly. And you agonize it for far too long, then it truly matters. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've missed it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Have some Magic players at my house be like, I think that is 0.000% better of a card. And be like, oof, you might be right.
Yeah.
You might be right. It comes in against this. It's, yeah.
I'm going to have, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out my deck on our coffee table, and I'm going to have Rob come in and take a really angsty photo like it's from some Italian movie from the 1960s.
Okay.
Of me just sitting there mulling over it, and I'll tweet out that.
Okay. Good call. Good call.
Yeah, I'm in for that.
All right. So the deck I'm going to be playing this round is just Azorius Control. It splashes red here for just being able to prismatic ending for 1 extra converted mana cost.
You got some E's in the sideboard too?
Yeah, more than likely.
They often have those too. Looks like, you got one.
Just a solid control deck. I think this deck has a ridiculous power level compared to the format right now. There's a lot of mid-range, there's a lot of creature decks. So this style of deck I think is really good. But my problem with it, as we were saying, is it's hard to be prepared for everything since there's going to be a lot of different mid-range decks, a lot of different aggro decks, a lot of different combo decks and stuff. So I was close to submitting this, but inevitably will not be. But.
And that wide open field makes me want to have a proactive element to my control deck, and that's why I liked 4-color creativity. Has a lot of the same controlling elements, has prismatic ending, has Teferi, has some counter spells, though it doesn't get to play actual counter spell because the mana base is so biased towards mountains.
So a
lot of lists
kind of has to be with the dwarf land,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
So a lot of lists play Remand, not a card I like. So my list actually has a couple of Force Negations and Spell Pierces in the main.
Okay.
Which are good at defending your creativity, or at least Spell Pierces, and then Force is just good at letting you tap out for your Planeswalkers.
Okay.
So I like those, but otherwise the list is pretty stock. I get to play Hard Evidence, which is basically unbeatable.
Hard Evidence is awesome.
Yeah, nice Ragavan. I have a crab.
Card. Yeah, no kidding. I think it was even that same one, draft F&M that we played. I opened, it was like a Hard Evidence, and I was just like, this card seems messed up to me, and you're like, that does seem really good. It was like right when they came out. I was like, this seems easily breakable.
It's basically the blue Thraben Inspector.
It really is. It really is.
And we all know how good Thraben Inspector is.
All right.
Keep.
My hand,
Actually, mulligan.
Okay. I was like, my hand is actually pretty solid against what Ross does. Like, these are really good. And then I have the mana to facilitate it, so I'm going to keep.
One of the things that does worry me about the this deck is I'm not sure how good the matchup is against control. Usually when you're the one with that sort of proactive plan and the control deck, the pure control deck just has more disruption and more card draw, you're a little behind. But with green, you do get Veil Summer out of the sideboard. Milas has more cheap counters to win counter wars, so should be okay. And Ren in 6 is also quite good. You know, you can try to ramp that up to an emblem. Though I guess with Prismatic Ending, it's just too easy to deal with now.
Yeah,
still a good card to get that mana advantage.
Could be tricky if you know, I had better hands than this one, but you know, top of the deck will be nice to me.
So Corey, I did have a question about
what do you got?
This like kind of control deck. Do you think that you should definitely stick blue-white, or do you think it's a deck that you can kind of move into a third color, be that like black for Esper or you know, red for, I don't know, whatever you want. Lightning Bolt, whatever.
So I think the one thing that I really liked is moving into red for the prismatic endings and just fire ice.
Yep.
Like that I think is pretty decent. But then I think if you move into black, I think there's better Esper decks that also can do control stuff. Reanimator deck from Spike is pretty good, you know, and I don't see a big reason to be a control deck just for black. And like green, definitely not. I mean, like Nissa and stuff like that. It's not the time and place. But out of all the just splashes that remain true to the control shell itself, I just like the fire ice stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think red is the only really viable splash. I think it's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. I would splash red in my control deck if you are more concerned about hammer decks, about Ragavan decks, DRC decks. Then the fire ice is going to be a lot better in that matchup. It gives you additional removal that isn't dead in the control matchup. You either just cycle it and you know find your good cards, or sometimes you can set it up where that mana is really key in the counter war.
Like end step ice when you have 3 mana up, and I'm like pretty sure you have like an Archmage's Charm or something. Like that's just perfectly fine. I don't really know too many matchups where fire ice is just bad. I guess if we look back to our last match, like Belcher, it would have been pretty weak. You know, there were turns that I made it kind of awkward for you, but
so it just has such a high floor.
I agree.
I love me a good fire ice.
I
have a solid 6 here. I will put the bad removal spell on the bottom. And I'll lead on a Catchery Trial.
All right. I just have a Flooded Strand. I'll pass to you.
I have, let's say a Wooded Foothills. I'll pass the turn.
Not sure if you play Spreading Seas, but leaving your fetch land open is a good reason to do that if you do play that. But I'm not 100%, so then I'll pass to you.
End step, crack Wooded Foothills. Let's get a... I guess I'll just get the other trial. Ragavan Trial.
All right.
Now my mana's nice and set up.
I'm jealous. The old double Triumph is just so soothing. So soothing.
I am just going to play a Mesa and pass the turn.
I will double crack these.
So I'm at 19, you're at 18?
Yep, I think I only have 1 Triumph, so I'm going to get that, and might not even have one, I can't remember.
This matchup is going to play out a lot like a control mirror. We're just going to make land drops, do our thing.
Yep, except you can just kill me all of a sudden. All right.
You can get a little awkward because you have Verdict. So if I sorcery speed, go for a big creature, then Verdict will clean it up, regardless of which one I hit.
That's a good point. Okay, I am going to just play a land and go for a Spreading Seas on your Triumph. Makes it kind of awkward for your Dwarf land. Spreading Seas is actually kind of decent against you. I should be at 18.
Yeah, I will respond to the Spreading Seas by icing your Ragavan Trial.
I'll respond. Add blue.
Okay. Your Spreading Seas is fine.
Okay, draw and pass to you.
End step, crack Arid Mesa, go to 18.
Okay.
So So I have red, blue, white. Let's get Stomping Ground in case I draw a Ren in the 6.
Okay.
Seeing as you've shut off the green for my Ketre Triome.
No green for you.
Well, I just found more.
Well, now you get green. But I'm not happy about it.
It's good because I wanted green. Draw. Let's play a Scalding Tarn.
Okay.
And I will play a Teferi Time Raveler.
Yep. It's pretty good. Resolves.
And is there any need for me to draw a card right now? I don't think so.
You can bounce that Spreading Seas.
I will just plus.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
Own tap. Draw. Not a bad little draw there. Blue, white, red, and Prismatic Ending.
In response,
Okay.
Crack Tarn. I'm going to go to 15.
Is this the dreaded Spell Pierce?
Oh, yeah. Get a Steam Vents and Pierce you.
All right, jerk.
Had I not drawn Pierce last turn, I likely would have
Ticked
minus
down.
that to Fairy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I probably should have waited there. I kind of forgot about that until exactly when your eyes lit up. I was like, oh no. That can't be good for me.
you got 6 in hand?
6 in hand, yep.
That's a lot.
And I can't do anything on your turn, so hope for the best. You only got 3?
Yep.
Okay.
4 after I draw. Yeah, -3 with no target.
Okay.
And unfortunately, not a good set of draws there.
Good, good. Yeah, I got so tunnel vision because I top decked this. I was like, all right, this is sweet.
I'm just going to play a tap Sacred Foundry and pass the turn.
All right, we like that. Okay. Now what do we want to do? We have a couple of options here. But I kind of like just going for this. Even though it's probably the most boring play. Maybe that just can't be right. Guess you can have counter spells and stuff, so this does kind of pressure that. Go.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that's not good.
So I was hoping that was your response instead of, ooh, that's not a good play, Corey. Gets to check to fairy kind of, forever, essentially, barring you having to blink first. Not that it's that big of a deal, but...
Until I show you a Dwarven Mine.
Oh, dang it.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we got him.
You got me.
Plus Fairy.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right, I got a Shaheen. On top?
Yep. And Shaheen's got a Chalice in his hand. My Dwarf has a Pickaxe. Who do you think is winning that fight?
Yeah. We know. We all know.
How do these trade? I have a Pickaxe.
Let's see. What do we want to do here?
Someone please call the Flavor Police.
Yep. Could do this. That is not the prettiest of plays, but does serve a bit of a purpose. So yeah, I think I'm going to try this. Okay, I'm going to start with a Charm on the Dwarf.
Resolves.
All right, I'll attack Teferi.
I will Prismatic Ending your Shaheen.
Harsh, but fair. Harsh, but fair. Okay, then I will just buy Kahira and pass to you.
Jesus. -3 to Fairy on the Dwarf.
Okay. That's what I kind of figured you'd do if you had no other way to do anything about it.
Play another Teferi.
Okay.
I will minus this one right away.
Okay.
Wow.
Your hand pretty good right now, or?
Basically the best I've ever seen. I will play an Arid Mesa and pass the
My
turn.
hand is surprisingly not that good either, so I guess we got a weird little game on our hand. So all your fetch lands can be Dwarven Mires. So castling, it's a uphill battle to say the least, but it's still doable. So yeah, I'm just gonna play a land and pass.
Draw.
Okay.
Plus Teferi.
Okay.
Play an Arid Mesa.
Okay.
And pass the turn.
I'll make a 1/1.
Yep.
I'll play a land and I'll attack Teferi.
Teferi goes to 1.
And I guess I can play this. I'll play Kahira.
Sure.
Pass to you.
Play a Scalding Tarn.
Okay.
Plus Teferi.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right. I will crack Scalding Tarn.
17 to 15.
Yep. And get an island. 3 Scolding Tarns. Okay, I will make a Shaheen.
Yep.
Untap. Drop. All right, everything at Teferi.
Okay, before our blocks, I'll crack an Arid Mesa,
Sure.
go to 14,
Okay.
get a Dwarven Mine.
Okay.
Oh, man, that might have actually been a good draw. Top card of my deck was Sarah's Emissary.
Oh, yeah, you can just cast it.
Yeah, so I'll get a Dwarf.
Okay.
I will block one of the Shaheens.
Okay.
And for damage, I will fire Kahira.
Wow, Kahira's fired, huh? Okay.
So Teferi to 1.
Yep, and I will play a Colonnade, and I'll pass to you.
That's pretty good.
Yep, not bad. This is a very strange game, I feel.
Yeah, not a very eventful game.
No, not really. Not really.
So it happens when both players draw 12 lands.
Yeah. Yep. All right, I'm just trying to get this Teferi dead so I can interact, and I'm going to feel a lot better.
Draw.
Yep. You got a good one?
I'll play an island.
Okay.
I'll plus Teferi.
Okay.
And I will pass the turn.
All right. End step, I'm going to make a big shark. I got a 6/6 here.
That's pretty big.
Pretty large. 6/6 shark. Draw. Untap. A draw again. That was a pretty good draw. I'm going to go with a Teferi.
A Teferi Time Raveler.
Yep. 2 can play at this game.
That resolves.
Ooh, okay. I know I'll be able to at least do some stuff. I guess you could have sharks of your own. I'm not sure if you have those, but so you can still do some Dwarven Mine. So I think I have to just bite the bullet here and shark your Teferi. So yeah, I'm gonna just attack Shark and Teferi, and I'm gonna hold back Shaheen. Dead Teferi. Now I am going to bounce Spreading Seas. Draw a magical card.
Sure.
That's why I left it back, because I wanted to be able to block if you want a Dwarven Mine to just kill it. I'll just put it back on the same thing.
Yep.
Oh, draw. I'll play a land, and I'll pass to you.
On your end step, I will crack both my remaining fetches. Go to 12.
Okay.
I will get a Dwarven Mine,
Okay.
and 2 dwarves.
Here they are.
And go to my turn.
You got it.
Draw.
Okay.
I will send both dwarves at your Teferi.
Okay, I will crack this.
You go to 16.
Yep. And I don't want that to happen, even though I don't truly want to have to tap my lands, but I do think it's probably just worth it. Yeah, I'll make a Shaheen and block them both.
Both blocked.
Okay.
I will then cast a Nahiri
Okay.
and -2 on your shark token.
Mean.
And then I will play a Plains
Okay.
and pass a turn.
All right. Untap, draw, tick up. And I don't want you to gain any card advantage. So I won't let you do such a thing, and I'll kill Nahiri. And then I'll pass to you. Now we just sit back, relax, enjoy the game.
That sounds about right. That's that was a perfect draw.
Yeah, I bet there was not a perfect draw.
No, you just have to change your definition of perfect.
I mean, you're getting close to just casting Emrakul here. I have to stop you from doing that.
That is the plan.
Oh, God.
I only have 13 mana producing lands in the deck, so
Really?
yeah, it's literally impossible.
So
unless you
good.
Blood Moon me
That's so
or Spreading
good.
Seas of Fetch land.
Yeah, which is the stupidest thing you can do.
Pass the turn.
All right, I'll Memory Deluge.
Yeah, I'm dead this game.
Yeah, you are.
I just drew the creativity. Literally, the very first turn where I know you definitely have counter spells up, and I'm out of targets.
Yeah, I mean, how does your deck beat this?
I named creature off Sarah's Emissary.
Oh, and that gives it protection. I mean, but then you can't beat this, right?
Teferi end step. That's why I leave the fetches uncracked. So
Okay.
all those turns where I had Teferi out,
Yeah.
I can just plus, block. I guess and block with one and have two. There was a couple turns where I still would have two left over.
Yeah.
And you just creativity for 2. You get both Emrakul and Emissary.
Okay.
On the end step, unsolitudable because you name creature and attack
Gotcha.
for 20.
Because I had
Yeah,
such.
the Emissary is a very important part. This used to be in the sideboard, but Solitude got so big in the metagame that they just moved it to the main.
That's what I was saying. I kept a 5-lander double Solitude. I'm like, this card just seems insane against you. I was just thinking of Emrakul and thinking of this, where you usually
Yeah.
name like sorcery or something, but.
There's definitely draws where Solitude is problematic. But
Yeah.
between Teferi and Sarah's Emissary, you have plenty of ways to beat it.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, that it seemed bad from you just from an initial evaluation point of this matchup, but like Supreme Verdict plus Solitude plus like Teferi, like it's hard to prepare yourself for all of those. So it does seem like you have to be kind of more of an aggressor in this. Where I think your Veils are gonna help here in the post board.
Yeah.
So yeah, take us out.
Yeah. Not drawing 12 lands will also helpful.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're supposed to draw 2 lands and then Ren in 6, and then never another one.
And then never another one.
That's
That
how
makes
it's
sense.
supposed to work. So we're going to try to set that one up for the next game chat. But before that, we got to do some sideboarding. So we're going to take a quick break, get those sideboards set up, and come back and finish this match between 4C Creativity and Azorius Control. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Versus Live, where we are sideboarding in our matchup between 4-color Creativity and Azorius Control. On my side, a lot of anti-control cards to come in. Veil of Summer, Fluster Storm to help fight counter wars, Shark Typhoon to give myself another good threat and another way to generate targets for the creativity.
Yep.
Especially
Makes sense.
through Teferi. If I'm on the play here and you go for Teferi on turn 3, I could potentially just Typhoon into creativity on the end step.
Yep.
And get you. Granted, if you don't minus the Teferi, then that's a risky play because I have to hit Emissary, but...
Yeah, you have to Emissary and you have to name Planeswalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Which gets a little awkward.
Yeah.
So But regardless, Shark Typhoon is a good card in the matchup. Lets me just have a little bit more play. Lets me attack your Teferi's.
Yep.
That's probably the most important thing. Bolt, obviously the worst card in the matchup. Prismatic Ending basically only says 3 mana, destroy target Teferi, or exile target Teferi. I don't think that's good enough, as good as Teferi is in the matchup. I'm just going to try to make sure those don't resolve. I've got some burn spells and some other ways to peck him down. You know, I can make some dwarf tokens and attack it, just like you were making tokens with Castle Ardenvale. Now I've got the Sharks. And then I'm leaving in some of my burn. I like the idea of Ice being able to set up the counter wars like I talked about before the matchup. And Prismari Command both like makes a treasure for creativity. It just does so much in the deck, and if the game's going really late, it's nice to have that looting, especially if you've got a Ren going. I love Ren Prismari Command. So I like both of these cards. They're not great in the matchup, so I just trimmed one of each. I may get to the point where I feel like I should trim 2 of one and 0 of the other, but it's pretty close, so we'll just try a split.
Okay, sounds good to me. So from my side, just bringing in everything that says counter target spell in some regard here. Everything else is really for pretty obvious, matchups here where none of them are going to be coming in against you. Chalice being the number 1 card I want to take out, not very good. Maybe if I Chalice on 1 so I can get your Veils, that's kind of cool. But outside of that, it's pretty weak. Taking out 1 Prismatic Ending, because I really do need to kill your Teferi. So I think it's more important to me. It still basically reads kill target Teferi from my deck as well, but I think it's just that much more important that I deal with yours. And maybe if I had more Sharks, I'd just rely on that. But the play you were just describing, where you can end step creativity and just kill me out of the blue, I'm afraid of. So I want to make sure I have some answers for that. Then I'm taking out Spreading Seas, even though I think the card is actually pretty good against you, turning some of your mountains into islands where your Dwarven mines essentially get shut off. But Veil is so bad against Spreading Seas. That's the ultimate blowout, really. Like, I don't get a card, it doesn't turn into an island, and you get a card. That is not great. So, yeah.
Have you thought about bringing in the Engineered Explosives? You just leave it on 0. And it doesn't matter how many targets I have, EE blows them all up. I basically can't resolve creativity through it.
Oh, yeah. No, that's probably good, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually good. The fact that you have that makes me want to leave in more Prismari commands, actually.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. I definitely should do that.
Yeah.
I'll take out 1 more Spreading Seas. I didn't really want it anyways, so.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, good call, good call.
Normally you get around spot removal just by creating a million different targets and casting a big creativity and that is ignoring it. But.
That is one reason to be a little afraid of playing that deck as well. Is EE is not there for this matchup, but people have figured that out. It's easy one to overlook because you just think, okay, that kills Rhinos. That is good against Hammer. That's what EE does.
I'm not a small creature deck. I am a combo deck that requires different tokens.
Yeah, exactly. They're all tokens because you cannot play any creatures besides the big ones because of creativity. So yeah. All right, yeah, that's interesting. That would make me a little worried about playing that deck, I must say.
Yeah. Engineered Explosives, Prismari Command being an answer to it is nice, but it's definitely an annoying card that people can have.
Yep, exactly. All right, I'm guessing you want to go first?
I do indeed.
All right, let's battle.
I would also like you to mulligan to 3.
No, I'm keeping a good hand this time. I kept the hand basically thinking you couldn't beat Solitude, kind of forgetting that the card gives you protection from creatures. I still kind of stand by that hand, even if, I was aware of that, but this hand's just good.
I have 4, 8, 11, 12, 13.
Keeping a loose goose? We like that.
Add 2 for the first draw. So you got 15 outs on turn 1, and then 13 the next turn to have a blue source. And then this hand is pretty good.
Okay.
Still not great, though. And the fact that it is not great makes me not want to take the risk.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, I'm going to keep mine pretty solid. And, Rob, you got any questions from our lovely studio audience?
Yeah, I've got 2.
Sweet.
First is we had somebody who was saying that they're going to be commentating their first Magic event this weekend, and Corey wanted to know if you had any advice for them.
Commentating your first Magic event. Okay. Let me think. Well, what's the role? We need to know what... Are they in the...
That I don't know, but...
Okay. I would just say, don't try to say all the words at once. Just kind of conversate back and forth with your co-commentator and not try to be the best commentator in the world your first round, because then that comes off like you're just essentially trying too hard, and it comes off a little awkward. But God, yeah, that's a tough question. I wasn't expecting that. It's the best I got for now. Let me think on that one. I'll mull that over.
All right.
Know all the card names.
Yeah, that's very true. That is something I do. I straight up, when it comes to right before a set championship or something with a new set, I essentially make flashcards to make sure I know the card names, because it's nothing more derailing than just being like, that one thing. And I'm bad with card names, so it takes some actual work, that's for sure. But ooh.
This is the second straight hand where my 2 lands were Dwarven Mine, Sacred Foundry.
That's not good. That's not good. Did you say you had another question there, Rob?
Yes, I did. So, Ross, what do you think about this version of your creativity deck versus the Titan Valakut version?
Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of that version. I remember seeing it pop up a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty interesting to me because
Unholy heat.
well, a lot of the time you literally just kill them. You creativity for like 3, get 3 Titans, and find like Valakut, mountain.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet.
And then you also just have you don't have this like poopy Emrakul in your deck. If you just draw a Titan, you can kill people with it. It's a pretty cool build. It doesn't go as over the top, and I think you incorporate some elements in it that aren't great, but I do kind of like that build because you also you can make sure you hit all your land drops with Ren and just get up to Valakut. You can use that to control the game. I wanted something a little bit more explosive in a wide open field, but I like the sort of consistency and well-roundedness of the Titan builds. But I really don't have a lot of experience with them. That's another thing.
Yep, that's fair. That is fair.
Yeah, I remember seeing those pop up a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't think I even saw those, to be honest. But
it was pretty quick.
Okay.
Don't know why they didn't really catch on. I remember seeing it, thinking like, that's just a good idea.
Cool deck.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Oh my God, I can keep.
Oh my.
Oh, and it's actually great.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I will put those on the bottom.
Okay.
I will.
Decisions.
I will play a Wooded Foothills and pass the turn.
Okay. I just have a Flooded Strand, and I'll pass to you.
Crack this and get. Oh, where are you?
A Triome, I presume.
Yep. Where is it? There we go.
Like, have you checked your hand?
I'll get a Ketchery Triome.
Okay.
$19. Crack Tarn, I'll go to 16.
Okay.
Get a Sacred Foundry.
Okay.
And play Ren and 6.
Dang it! That's the one thing I didn't want to see.
Yes, the Unmulliganer.
Yeah. Okay, yep.
Rebuy the Scalding Tarn and pass the turn.
I'll crack this. I'll crack this magic card.
What's the other mode that your Prismatic Endings have is they kill Ren and 6.
I know, right? Right when I was just looking at my hand, I was like, okay, this hand is super weak to Ren and 6. I was like, that's why I should have kept in all 3. Yep. Immediately regretting that, but it's on the top. Have no fear.
No fear, Underdog is here.
I'll play a land and I'll pass to you.
Well, those have not been good draws. Plus on Foothills.
Okay. That is definitely on mulliganing.
Yeah. Play a Tarn.
Okay.
Play Hard Evidence.
Hard Evidence, you say? I don't know if that's something I should care about. Does draw you a card and set you up, so that's kind of relevant. Yeah, I'll crack and get a... I can just get an island here, and I'll try to counter it.
Easy to 18.
Yep.
I'll crack the Tarn and get a Stomping Ground and Veil.
Alright, at least you got that out of your hand, but not the best exchange, of course. You go to 17, you said? Or wait,
I'm going to go to 13.
13. Okay.
This deck, one of the other things I don't like as much about this deck is it deals itself with quite a bit of damage.
A ton of it. Yep. There's your Krabby Patty. And might need a clue there, Rob.
Oh, yeah. That's on me. I didn't tell Rob we needed clues.
Whoa. We never screw up. Okay, done?
Yeah. I just got to draw my card off of Veil.
Okay. I'll play land tapped and I'll pass to you.
Okay, I'm very happy not to see Teferi there.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
It wouldn't have been a disaster because you would have had to, if you minus to deal with my clue, then I can use Ren to deal with the Teferi.
Yep.
Still, you would have just plussed and had a Teferi, which is not good.
I don't know. Then your crab can just freely attack it, though, which is a problem.
Oh my god. Let's crack this clue.
Okay.
This is not real.
Just drawing poorly?
As badly as humanly possible.
Okay, good.
So typical Ross.
Yeah.
Literally, my hand could not be worse.
So you have all the creatures. I'm still very afraid of this game. I'm not gonna lie.
Should I get you some brainstorms?
Yeah.
I will play this Scalding Tarn and pass the turn.
Okay. I'll untap. I'll draw. It's a pretty good draw. Kind of needed that one. Yeah, I think it's probably just time now. I'll Prismatic Ending.
Found the Prismatic Ending.
Found it. Then I'll pass to you.
Instead, crack this Tarn.
Okay.
Go to 12.
Yeah, I don't want you to have infinite hard evidence. That's it's far too much. It would just make me crabby, really.
I think it would make me crappy.
Yeah.
Gonna get a Steam Vents. Normally,
That's your default, anyways, though.
Yeah. Normally I would get a Triome, but if I draw Triome, I am cycling back. So
Fair enough.
let's just get a Steam Vents here.
Fair enough.
And maybe hope to draw relevant cards.
Relevant cards? Those are good.
That's not a bad one.
Okay.
I'll play a Wooded Foothills.
Okay.
I will attack with my crab.
Nice, I'll take it.
And I'll pass the turn.
Good. Way to establish some crab dominance there. Yeah, I'll just pass to you. No land for me.
Arid Mesa.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
Memory Deluge.
I will respond with a Prismari command.
Okay.
I would like to loot 2 and make a treasure.
You got it.
And
Get rid of some bad cards. I have a feeling an Emrakul is going to the graveyard.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
I will also pitch an Arid Mesa.
Okay. Trigger.
And let's shuffle those in, and your Deluge will resolve.
All right. Oh, 1, 2, 3.
This should also get shuffled.
Okay. Oh, that was not good. These were not good cards. Drawn like Ross. So I guess I'll take this and probably this.
Oh, that's how I can hardcast Emrakul. If I make 2 treasures and have all 13 of my lands.
There you go. You've solved it.
We figured it out, chat.
You have solved it. All right, I'll take these 2 and I'll put these 2 to the bottom. Untap.
Yep.
And draw. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, I'm gonna go with Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Resolves.
Bounce the crab. Just kidding. I will brainstorm. And let's put these on top. Let's put this on top for sure. And this. And then I'll play a land, and I'll pass to you.
On your end step, I'll crack the 2 fetches.
Okay.
Puts me to 10.
Okay.
I will find 2 Dwarven Mines.
Good call, good call. Yeah, the only reason I played Jason out, 1, I didn't have a land. And 2, you only had 2 fetch lands, so it doesn't die immediately. I figured you're either going to counter it, or you're not going to care at all. And, you know, if I just said go, I didn't have that much interaction. So I felt like I had to make a move this turn, even though that did not feel great from my end, that's for sure.
There's 1 card in my deck I really want to draw.
Yeah? Emrakul?
That's not it. Oddly enough.
Yeah, I believe it. All right, bring it on.
Attack Jace for 2.
Would you like to get in there with the crab too?
That'll attack you.
Okay, perfect. 1, and I'm at 18.
Yep. And then I will play an Arid Mesa, and I will pass the turn.
Wow. I am shocked by that.
What did you think I was going to do?
I don't know, kill me or something?
It's a little hard to creativity into an onboard Jace. I have to like name Planeswalker, get all my stuff solituded. I know your hand's full of spells.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
If you verdict me, I'm just dead.
That is a very good point. Okay. I am going to. I know what's on top of my library, and I'm pretty sure I don't like it. Right? Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna look at the top of mine.
Sure.
I'm gonna put it on the bottom. Then I'm going to try a Teferi.
Yep.
Okay, I will bounce a dwarf. And I was just trying to hit a land. I did not. I'm going to move to end step. I'll have to discard, though.
I'm going to do something on your end step.
Okay.
Crack this Mesa, go to 9.
Okay.
Get a Dwarven Mine.
Okay.
Get a Dwarf.
Yep.
I'm also going to cycle a Shark Typhoon for 5.
Oh. I don't love that. I guess.
Got another Solitude you want to evoke?
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I do. I'll exile this. You gain
5.
Yep.
That brings me to 14.
Okay.
Go to my turn.
Yep. Forgot about Shark Typhoon. That's a good one. Just trying to protect Jace.
I'm going to send both dwarves at your Teferi and crab at Jace.
And Crab at Jace, of course. Okay. Yep.
Okay. And this says 3, so that deals 3, right?
That does. Yep. Doran is not in play.
It's my first time playing Magic. I'm not sure how everything works.
Okay.
You know, some things that they're not very intuitive, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely one of them.
Okay. Post combat, I will play Nahiri.
Nahiri, huh? I will attempt to do something about that.
Not a fan.
I'll Dovin's veto it.
I'll Veil.
Okay. So messed up that my Dovin's veto does not work. That resolves.
Okay, that's on 4. I will play a Bloodstained Mire, sack it.
Okay.
I'm going to go to 11.
Okay.
Oh, crap.
You got a land?
This is okay. No, we're not going to crack it. So I'm
Okay.
still 14.
Okay.
I don't have another untapped white source, so I'm going to have to blow the treasure here,
Okay.
which is fine. To play this Teferi I just drew,
Okay.
which I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's a good one. I do not have anything to do about that.
I will minus to draw a card.
Okay.
And then I will plus Nahiri and discard. Oh, let's discard this mountain.
Okay.
And draw a card.
Not feeling good about this game.
Yeah, this turned around in a hurry.
Yeah, it did.
And I'll pass the turn.
All right. Still got a Jace, so that's something, but your Teferi is now very bad for me, so I'm going to brainstorm.
Yep.
So I guess I don't have many options, unfortunately.
Despite having 10 cards in your hand.
Yep.
Literally, there's like 90 options for how to put the cards back right now.
Yeah. Yeah. All my counter spells are pretty bad. And by pretty bad, I mean unplayable. And even my other stuff isn't very good. How do I possibly win this game? All right, we're going to try this. I'm going to put these back and fetch.
So you're at 17.
Yep. And I can just get a basic for now. Oops. I drop some more? Nope, only that one. And yeah, like making castle tokens or anything, that's not good. I don't have a shark right now, so I want to...
The crab contains Shaheen.
Yeah, I'm going to play a Solitude.
Resolves.
I will hit a dwarf.
I'll go to 15.
Okay, and I'll pass to you. Not great. Not great.
I concur. Okay, well, I will plus 2 Nahiri.
Okay.
Discard Scalding Tarn.
Okay. Yeah, I'm now realizing I don't think I can beat a Nahiri to save my life if it hits if it hits the play.
I'll
the stack.
take 2 for a Steam Vents, go to 13.
Okay.
Plus the Teferi.
Yeah.
And pass the turn.
Okay. I have a feeling something bad is going to happen. Let's go with a... Let's go with the Archmage's Charm on the dwarf.
Resolves.
Okay. Let's go with a bounce on the crab. And I'll attack. That just lets you attack with Emrakul, right?
Yeah, the creature goes back to my hand at the end of the turn.
Okay. Okay.
Just puts it on the battlefield, gives it haste. You can also search for an artifact if that
If
were
you so
relevant.
choose.
Yeah. Not that I have one.
Yeah, I guess I'll attack Nahiri.
I will Prismari Command, deal 2 to Solitude, make a treasure.
Okay. And I will play a land, and I will cast Memory Deluge. Yeah, I'm dead. I can't beat Nahiri.
I have hard evidence creativity.
Yeah, yeah.
I have both creatures.
Okay, well, we got time for a fast and loose game 3 before our final match, at least.
I had the creativity forever that game. There was just never a good spot to use it. But
Yeah.
I went Nahiri, loot, draw to it was Nahiri into Teferi.
Yeah.
Off of like I drew Nahiri off the Veil and then drew Teferi for turn.
Not bad,
Something
not bad.
ridiculous like that. Just that
Yeah.
combination was.
And it was just a rough thing for me is I didn't hit land 5, and then my Memory Deluge did not see a land, and then I did not draw a land 5 off the top. So I'm like, okay, that wasn't great for me. And then I tried to go out and just cast Jace, which ended up being good.
Yeah.
But I didn't even find a untapped blue source off Jace because I had a dispute. I think maybe that was the turn you Teferi'd, but I can't remember. But all right, Rob, you got one question for us while we shovel up for a third game?
I've actually had some questions about some older Modern decks. People are wondering if you think might be playable in the current format between Amulet Titan, Hardened Scales. I think you're probably pretty down on both of those, right?
I'm not as down on Amulet, but Hardened Scales I'm pretty down on.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not as down on Amulet just because I think you can really combo people right now.
Yeah.
Like I would be trying hard to accentuate that aspect of the deck.
Yeah, I just think about these 4-color Omnath, even Teamer Rhino's deck. Get amuleted, that would be really rough.
Solitude is still an issue, though.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Because I was going to say, not as many Unholy Heats. There's not as many regular Unholy Heats.
There's more Solitudes.
But there's more Solitude. Yeah, okay, that's a good point. They are in rough spots. Man, MH2 did not do Primeval Titan any justice.
It printed a lot more good disruption creatures that were previously very difficult to deal, or any threats that were difficult to deal with that are now easier to deal with based on the new disruption have really downgraded, and Primeval Titan's really sort of the poster child of that group.
Yeah, really is.
Yeah, the more we think about it, the more down on Titan.
They don't seem great
and then
right now.
Scales to me, what are you doing that's really that powerful?
Yeah, Scales without Mox Opal just lost it right there,
And it wasn't even that good of a Mox Opal deck.
It was still pretty good.
Yeah.
It was still pretty good.
Opal was just a busted card.
Yeah, but Oko was the other Mox Opal deck, and that one was pretty messed up. But yeah, unfortunately, whoever asked that, I don't see it right now.
And Prismatic Ending answers your Hardened Scales. So you can't even reliably just cast that on turn 1 and be like, okay, my deck's online. So, both those decks.
And how about Fury for Hardened Scales?
Yeah. Both those decks fall squarely into the category of
Modern Horizon
really beat up
2,
by the new removal.
Yeah, by Modern Horizon, all the free stuff, it was not great.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and being free when you're an aggro deck that's trying to get underneath people.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, God. Not great.
Are you talking about your hand?
No, my hand is, it isn't that great, but I will keep.
God, my hand is also not great, but I think I have to keep.
Fast to you.
If I just need to swap this out for one slightly different card.
Okay,
I did it.
I'm gonna fetch this while we
everything's fine.
Okay, bring it on.
I will play a Ketria Triome and pass the turn.
Okay, I'm at 19. Do a fast and loose one so we can get to our match of the deck we're actually playing. I will just play another Flooded Strand and I'll pass to you.
Okay. I will take 2 for Esteem Vents and play Hard Evidence.
Okay.
I'm at 18. I get a crab and a clue.
Okay.
And I'll pass the turn.
All right, I'll sack this.
I only played 1 mana. I get 2 things.
What a time to be alive, right?
How is this legal?
So many things.
18 all after your second fetch?
Yep, 18 all. And draw. Ross very clearly has a Veil. Okay, and then I'll play a land, and I'll pass to you.
Wood of Foothills, crack.
Okay.
17 from the fetch, and I am going to get... I need to get a Sacred Foundry, so I'll go to 15.
Okay.
And I will cast Wrenn and 6.
Wrenn and 6, huh? So you could either have Spell Pierce for a counter spell, or I guess that's about it to deal with it. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. But yeah, I'll try to counter it.
I had Flusterstorm.
Flusterstorm. Okay. Well, I was gonna get my draw too, anyways.
I'll plus on the Foothills. I'll attack you with my crab, and I'll pass.
All right. All right. I will take 2, and I will Prismatic Ending this.
So you're at 16.
And I'll pass to you.
Play a Dwarven Mine, get a Dwarf.
Okay.
Play Teferi.
Yeah, that resolves.
Oh,
Results.
Oh, -3 and draw cards. Not under any pressure. You can't shark for anything.
Okay.
So get my card, and I will pass the turn.
That didn't go well for me. I had a prismatic ending, or at least I felt like I had to, but yeah, that did not. That was not ideal, so I will play a land, and I'll play a charm to draw 2 cards.
That's fine.
Divination, if you will. And, yeah, pass to you.
Draw. Plus to fairy.
Yep.
Play fetch land. Attack for 1 with the dwarf.
Okay, I'll take it.
Brings you to 15.
Yep.
15 all. Pass the turn.
Draw. I will play and buy Kahira. Pass to you. Yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah. Also had
That
the
was a
veil.
solid two. Yep.
Also drew another red after you killed the first one. This
Yeah.
draw was nice.
That draw was nice. Whenever you had just veil was such a problem. I just blue white just can't really play around it that well. You know,
Yeah.
you just kind of have to jam into it. Like there can be obvious turns like when you hard evidenced. I shouldn't do it there because one, the card isn't that. I'm not in
Valuable.
that much need of dealing with it, and like that seemed like a pretty obvious spot. But like when it came to Teferi, there you had the veil for it too. But was I going to not cast counterspell if I had it? It so happened all I had was charm for my interaction, and I tapped out for the prismatic ending. But yeah, was a beating.
Yeah, no, maybe the control match was better than I thought. Of like Veil, the sideboard is very good. Veil sharks and flusters. Maybe you don't need the flusters.
Yeah.
And you can shore up another matchup. But
I think instead of Flusterstorm right now, I really like Dispute. I think Dispute is just good. All these decks are like Omnath decks now, where you just get 1 mana kill Omnath, and I mean Flusterstorm is not as good against, or it's better against like the actual Rhino side of it, but I just think Dispute is actually coming back. I think it might be good.
Better at countering Teferi.
Yeah,
that's the big one.
Yep, so that's a big one too.
I think that would be the big variable, and I am definitely scared of Teferi. So maybe you want some disputes, or maybe you just want something for a different matchup.
And just more veils too, like.
Post sideboard, this felt very good from my side. My draw certainly cooperated more in those games as well.
Yeah, I liked your game 1 draw better, to be honest.
At one point, well, actually, at one point in game, like after I resolved the Ren in game 2, I literally drew like 4 lands in a row. Like at one point, my hand, when I told you my hand was as bad as possible, it was all lands except for 1, and it was the Emrakul.
Yes.
And you knew 2 lands. I had 4 more lands and an Emrakul. 7-card hand.
Wow.
But you just again put me under no pressure. We saw it against a deck with a combo finish in match 1. You had the pressure every game, and that was huge. In these games, the control deck didn't have the pressure, so I'm able to sit there and nickel and dime you with Ren and 6s, with Teferis, with different tokens, and let you use some resources. Let me set up my own battlefield. Ren particularly good because I'm hitting all my land drops. I'm getting all my Dwarven Mines every game. And forcing you to react first, and then when you're a little bit depleted, now I'm showing you the big stuff.
Yeah. No, it looks sweet, and that deck has always looked pretty good to me. It is one of those decks that is just all in, right? Like if there is some kind of weird scenario where mills over your 2 creatures and then surgical is your Emrakul or something like that, you just lose,
Yeah.
And that's why I don't love decks like that. And as far as blue-eye control, it still felt powerful at times, but there's times when I stumble, I miss mana, and it's just like all of a sudden I'm just playing some really weak cards, and you're able to take advantage of it with powerful things like Veil, Flusterstorm, and stuff like that. And it leads me to not want to play this, but I played a league or 2 with it and just wasn't super hyped about it, and I dropped it pretty quickly. But I was really only between an Omnath pile and the next deck I'm going to play, which is Grixis Death Shadow, to the surprise of no one. But
and you noted that what put you off this deck is having to play in a more wide open field. The 4C creativity deck doesn't see a ton of play online right now. So you're not really that concerned. There's just not a lot of Veil Summers really in any deck. There's not a lot of greens, so you don't have to worry about that card. Here, it was just a complete beating. From my side, I was very close to playing 4C creativity. If you'd asked me on Saturday morning, I would have said that's what I was playing. But the deck I saw coming up last, Aspiring Spike, won the challenge with it. I was already considering Esper Reanimator. But one of the things about the initial lists that had Thoughtseize and Counterspell as their disruption package. And 4 Mull Drifters, I thought their fair game plan wasn't particularly robust. So they were, while it looked like a combo control deck, and Mull Drifter was a step in the right direction towards giving the deck a fair game plan, it wasn't enough. It wasn't a big enough step. And the list I'll be playing, Spike's list, as Ephemerate, Grief, and Solitude.
Yeah.
Now is a big part of the Disruption package. You're still playing Teferi, you're still playing Prismatic Ending, which I think are just great cards. But now you just have a really fully fleshed out, disruption, I can beat you without using the graveyard kind of thing, or I can just completely strip you of all of your answers and go for a quick Archon. So a lot of the time your opponent keeps and they're looking at their hand of like rest in peace with some interaction and they're feeling good, and you just turn 1 Grief, Ephemerate them, take all their stuff, and then turn 3 the Archon and they're dead.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I played this matchup before, just the previous version. I didn't get to watch Spike, I didn't really get to see his run. I maybe tuned in for just a sec, but all the inclusions definitely make it a lot tougher on my deck. I have basically had 0 problems with this matchup before, but all those inclusions are really scary to me. I think the scariest one being Solitude. I mean, there's a lot of times where like Shadow. I can't be stacking 2 shadows in play and stuff, because you kill one, you get them both when you raise my life total and stuff. So that is some scary inclusions that I think it should be a pretty good match, and it's just going to be foreshadowing for when we're playing to see just playing a win in of day 2. I mean, not winning in a top 8. We're not going to be doing that.
We're playing in the finals, and we decline to play it, and we just play it on Versus Live for the entire first and second prize.
Oh man, yeah, just combine with the prize. Yeah,
we'll officially split the finals there, and then we'll literally play it on Versus Live on Tuesday.
Pretty sure that is the closest you can get to being some form of like gambling or bribery. Like, I think you just got DQ'd from the tournament before it even began.
Yeah, for suggesting that we might do it.
Yes, good job. Okay.
Well, at least I don't have to get cards.
Yep. Now we'll have someone playing in Ross's spot next round. We don't know who, but he has been removed. So
I'll just take over Rob's job. He can come in.
Okay, perfect.
He just hits buttons anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
How many buttons could there be over there? Like 4?
You got like 2 buttons, right?
It's 5. All right.
yeah.
One for each finger.
I just see him going like this. I don't think he actually is ever doing anything over there. I think you could do it. You could pull it off. But all right, everyone, that is going to do it for our second round. Ross was losing all the games, but then came back and won the 2 you needed to win.
I lost 4-1-2, so now it's tied.
Yeah, so now it is tied. That's how math works. So we're going to head to the third round where we're each playing basically within a couple of cards. We both got a little fine-tuning to do throughout the week. Massage the numbers, if you will. But this is what we're going to be playing at the Invitational. So, feel free to put all the graveyard hate in your deck to deal with Ross, and don't put any cards to deal with Death Shadow in, because
they're already there.
I'm just one guy.
Everybody already has 4 Solitudes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Except for me, but hopefully they'll come through somewhere.
All right, everyone, we're going to take a short 5-minute break. We'll be right back with round number 3 here on Versus Live.
Hello and welcome back to Versus Live. I'm Ross Merriam.
And I'm Corey Baumeister.
And we've got a Rob in the booth. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Rob will be taking all of your questions, comments, concerns, and burns in the chat. Make sure to tag at Star City Games so he can see them and send his favorites over to us. It is our final match here on Versus before SCG CON featuring the Invitational, and we are previewing the modern portion of that tournament, playing the decks that we considered but ultimately decided not to play. And now in this final match, Corey and I will both be playing the decks that we are playing this weekend.
We're just giving it away. We're just giving away our equity for you. All for you, the people inside the camera. We love you.
I wrote I went very in depth on both of my deck choices with my list on my article today. So if you want a very long form explanation as to why I chose this deck, you can find it there. But suffice it to say that I ultimately decided I wanted to be a combo control deck. That kind of strategy is very flexible and powerful in an open field because you have game against everything. And the answers in the different combo control decks are very flexible, in particular Prismatic Ending and Teferi.
Yep.
So the 2 decks it came down to were the deck I played last match, 4C Creativity and Esper Reanimator. I was leaning Creativity until I saw the new list, as I said before the break, from Aspiring Spike with Ephemerate, Grief, and Solitude, which I think really bolsters the deck to a new level.
Yeah, Aspiring Spike is low-key the producer of this show as well. Half of the time, he just builds so many cool decks that we just both love his style of deck building that we're just both like, ooh, a shiny new toy from Aspiring Spike. You got it, buddy. We'll be playing it. And we're like, I didn't ask, nor did I. And we're like, yeah, we got you.
Yeah, if we're playing Standard, it's a Crocus show. If we're playing Modern, it's a Spike show.
Yeah.
And that's usually how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Did you see the deck you played yesterday?
The Crokesters?
No, Spike.
No, I didn't. Wait, the Fiddler or something?
Yeah, he trophied with Oswald Fiddlebender.deck.
So I thought that was a joke. I thought that was just like, you know how the kids were like, Amulet? They're playing that deck. I thought it was just a new name for Hammer that somebody brought up that word, and I was like, I'm not even gonna engage with whatever hipster name of Hammer this is. And then I was like, oh, that's actually the card. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
It's like a birthing pod for artifacts.
Okay.
On a 2/2 on a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
And he just built a deck around it, and he uses murdering people.
Yeah.
Mainly with Nettlecyst. It was more of a Nettlecyst deck, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it was really cool.
I mean, honestly, this is an aspiring Spike deck as well. He's the first one to do this, and then, kind of went off of it, and I've been basically just never off of it. I always loved it. A little bit of buying a Modern deck and then choosing to switch a bunch. I bought a Modern deck that I know is probably going to be good for a while.
Yeah. Also has a lot of pieces that are good in other decks.
Exactly. So I just love it right now. I've been tuning it for a long time. I didn't write an article or anything about it, but I have just been playing it on stream constantly. We've been playing on Versus a lot. I've basically been on it for the last month and a half. And I think it's really good. And I think the one thing we were talking about, even in our Team BCW chat that we have, is the main thing.
We don't have a Team BCW chat. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
It exists for everyone except Ross, who actually knows how to use Messenger or whatever.
Yeah, Ross just hasn't fixed his computer, so he just never responds. But now
I see all the messages.
But
I respond to mainly make fun of Shaheen for being old.
Yep.
And to make fun of Ely also for being old.
Yeah, that's true. That is the bulk of it.
It's rare that I get to be on teams with people who are older than I am.
Yeah.
So I really have to take advantage of the opportunity when it presents itself.
Yeah, we're team old men. That's still true. But the one thing we were all saying from the beginning is we wanted to be proactive and powerful. And, that's kind of why I was on this deck from the beginning. And yeah, that's pretty much summed it up when it came to Modern. That's what I wanted to do.
I was leaning creativity on Saturday until I saw this build, because compared to the previous build of Esper Reanimator, I thought it was just a generally more powerful deck.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was worthwhile to play the worst mana base, because you got to play that weird Mountain Heavy Dwarven Mine mana base.
Yep.
That not only limits the way you can play spells, because you can't have really hard non-red color requirements, and you also take a lot of damage with that deck. A lot of fetch shocking. But it was worth it to just get a more powerful deck, overall. Now I think their power levels are roughly similar, and I'd rather have the better mana base, especially because I expect a good amount of burn as a deck that is easy for people to acquire and is quite good.
Yeah.
Among the 5 or 6 best decks of the metagame that I would say that, if you told me I have 4 of every single card in Modern, I can play whatever I want, and that asked me to list out what decks you should play, burn would be relatively high on the list.
Yeah.
So for people that are really scrambling to get cards or are already scrambling for standard cards and don't want to scramble for Modern cards, burn I think is easily your best option.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will just default to that.
Yeah.
And it's a matchup I'm afraid, it's always close, and it's always one of us is at 1. You probably don't mind the burn matchup as much. You got some cool toys.
Yes, so with Faithful Mending and Archon of Cruelty triggers, I feel pretty good about the burn matchup, and even I might be adding a card or two to help that matchup in the sideboard, just to really solidify it.
Because normally I don't think burn would be that big, but it is the product of post-COVID world, or, just the first Magic tournament since COVID began, I should say, and that's going to be a lot of people playing what they had, so I expected a lot of Tron, a lot of burn to be kind of popular going in.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to be going first, and this hand is pretty awkward. It still might be a keep, but my mana base is pretty iffy. This card is good, and I can kind of do some things. It's really close. I think I'm going to try it, but it is not the bestest of hands.
I will be sending my mediocre one-lander back.
Okay.
I really tried hard there to get into Corey's head and convince myself to keep that hand, find ways where it could. I still couldn't do it.
Okay, yeah. If you looked at this one, you'd probably ship it too. So. But it does have some really nice things against you. Obviously, these are amazing. But if we're looking at my hand as well, this card's actually pretty good as well in this matchup, even though it's not necessarily the main reason for it. But it was a land. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Okay. I will look at a much better hand.
Is that one just busted?
No, but it's a keep.
Okay.
I think it's pretty easy to put that one back. And
This is one of the reasons why I didn't want to keep this hand. Swamp is very unfortunate to have, but we still got Thoughtseize.
Now we got an interesting choice here because my hand is both combo pieces and then a bunch of card draw.
Yeah. Okay.
Corey's got to kind of use this time to develop a plan to beat both sides of my draw.
Yep.
And then based on that plan, we'll see which one he wants to break up.
Yeah, this is a toughie here.
Yeah.
So
I put second ephemerate on the bottom.
okay. God, those are some gorgeous ephemerates. So how much do I care about? I almost don't care about the persist itself. It's getting Archon into the graveyard that I think I'm supposed to care more about. So I'm kind of thinking I take Unmarked Grave here. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting because if it's not in your graveyard, you know, I never have to really worry about persist. So yeah, I'm gonna start with this. And yeah, leave that open for me, and then I'll pass to you.
I will play Marsh Flats and pass the turn.
Okay. I was going to be like, and Grief Ephemerate.
So I'll play Flat Strand.
Okay.
Blue's my splash color, so I'd rather have a Marsh Flats that can fetch either of my main color basics.
Okay. So that was a really good draw.
So when I was putting together modern decks, you know, I normally feel good that because I almost always have the lands. Like I just own fetches, I own shocks, I own everything. But I actually only own 38 fetches. I only own 2 Marsh Flats, and that's the main fetch land for the deck I chose.
Obviously, right?
Yeah.
All thoughts easy.
Oh, that's a tilt. I thought I had a pretty good draw here.
Yeah.
I found the answer to your test, Shadow.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have to take that one. And then I will take 2 and play this Regavan.
Okay.
Pass to
So
you.
14.
Yes. Yep. I'm 14.
On your end step, I'll crack a strand.
Okay.
So this is going to get... so all my gold cards are Azorius cards, so I don't want to get Hallowed Fountain, but I do think I want to get a blue source, so I'll get Watery Grave.
Yep, big draw step. If I can untap with Regavan and then be able to do stuff with my mana, feel a lot better, but if you draw Prismatic Ending, some way to deal with it, or even ways to present the combo, that's scary. But
I would like to draw... I am at 19. I think I would like to draw Grief.
Good grief. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
That one's not so good. I'll play Marsh Flats and pass.
Okie dokie. I will get the monkey in there. Okay. I will.
I'm at 17.
Then I will just take 2 and pass to you.
Brings you to 12.
Yep.
I want to draw a third land here, so I won't crack fetch.
Okay.
I did draw a third land, so that's cool.
Okay.
Let's crack both of those, go to 15.
Okay.
I think I'm just going to get basics here. So Swamp Plains.
Okay.
Not sure what you have over there.
I got some stuff. Got some things and stuff.
Could be cycling a dress down. Could just have a bunch of interaction in hand. You only have 3 cards.
I do only have 3 cards. That's a fact.
That is a truth fact.
Okay.
Haven't drawn a fetch land.
Yeah, that's been not great.
I'm going to play a Teferi.
Teferi, huh? That's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna respond. I did have a dress down, so I'm gonna play that.
Yep.
Draw. And sure.
And I am going to plus this Teferi. Even if I minus on the Ragavan, you can dash and kill it. And it's going to be hard for you to get to Delirium for a Unholy Heat. The only thing this punishes me is the only thing that punishes me for making this play is a bolt. And I know you don't play 4 bolts. I think you play 3 and maybe even 2. Corey has talked to me about this.
I have told you about this.
So, and my goal here is I really just want to draw a 4th land and set up draw 4, and kind of force you to deal with the Muldrift or I draw another 2.
Yeah, seems like you just want to bounce dress down here.
So yeah, I'm going to plus Teferi. Hope there's no bolt.
Okay. We'll put that here. I'll draw. Interesting draw. I'm gonna play a Dragon Rage Channeler.
Yep.
Bobble, trigger. Spin.
Just gonna get to Delirium.
See what you got. Huh. I can't cast that one. And I don't... Huh. I don't care too much if you draw that. Do I? It's interesting. Super interesting. I do want to attack and get some treasures, though. So, yeah, okay. I'm going to Unholy Heat trigger. I'm going to keep that one. That's a good one. And, yeah, it's... You got an Archon on top, so it's if I want you to draw your Archon, it's not very good. It is not very good for you. But I think I'd rather keep your combo pieces away, so yeah, let's attack.
I go to 13.
Okay, so 13 to 12, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then I'll pass, draw a bubble.
I'll go to 11.
Okay.
Play this Godless Shrine. Evoke Muldrifter.
I will cast Drown in the Log.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, do I even want to...
Could your hand have been better?
Surveil. It improved. It improved from the beginning, let me tell you. AK, I drew Ragavan. Like, I did not have a threat. That was my awkwardness of my hand, but... Yeah, and you had to take 2 beforehand, even though it was unfortunate, but...
Yeah, pass the turn.
Okay. Untap, a draw. I will attack.
I will go to 6.
Yep. Treasure. Getting closer. And then I will take 2.
That can't be good.
Go to 10.
This is just a hilarious turn.
I just do that all the time. So I will take
I never shot
this. I guess I'm afraid of your Persist Ephemerate, but... Not that afraid, I guess. Alright, so then I'll Lurrus and Bobble, trigger. Don't want that. And I don't need to draw during your turn, so I'll pass to you.
Interesting draw. Yeah, I definitely need to find some goods here. So I will persist Muldrifter.
Okay.
And draw 2.
I'm going to see with your top one. Okay.
Not
It's
great.
no longer concealed.
Not great.
Okay.
Well, I'll play this Concealed Courtyard, and I
Okay.
will pass the turn, I guess.
All right, I'll draw a bobble.
Yep.
And draw for my turn. I will cast Bobble, trigger.
Yep.
Don't want that. I'll bobble you. Spank you. And I'll play this land and declare tax.
I will block Lurrus.
Okay.
Before damage, I will attempt to Ephemerate on the Muldrifter. I have to block a 3-power creature here to stay alive, so might as well prevent the life gain.
Yeah, this is slightly awkward, but I will cast Dress Down in response. Trigger Surveil.
Sure.
Well, bin Crocs, huh?
So Ephemerate resolves.
Yep.
This now enters. I don't draw anything. I
Yep.
take 3.
You take 3.
Brings me to 3.
Brings you to 3. I have... And then end step, I will put this into the yard and pass to you.
Okay. Upkeep, I will ephemerate the Muldrifter.
Actually, still at end step. Sorry, you want to tap your mana again. Still at end step, I'm going to dress down again. And then, yeah, ephemerate resolves, but I'll draw off Bobble as well.
Yeah, now I just won't cast the... Well, do I want the card in my graveyard? It doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
Maybe I want to attack. Who knows? Maybe I'll draw a Time Walk.
Yeah, this is the nice thing about the Luris dress down against this matchup, at least, is like from... I think I did, yep.
Yeah, because it was his last
I drew one.
Dress down was his last card.
Yep,
so
dress down was my last card. And that's the nice thing is dress down now with Luris in play. I just dress down at my end step every single turn so that you can never Archon me. Of course, there's plenty of things you can do about it, but it's at least pretty good.
2 in hand.
2, yep. You got 3, and I know none of them, huh?
Correct. I'm going to play Teferi.
Okay.
I'm going to minus on DRC.
Okay. And you're at 3, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Then I will evoke a grief.
Yep.
Oh.
Does stay in play, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would still actually want to do that.
Yeah. No, it actually almost seems better.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
Pass the turn.
Okay. So this is gone. Oh, one tap.
Yeah, I was really just trying to take a removal spell if you add it, but this plays around removal anyway.
Yep. Nope.
Same thing.
Pretty cute. Alrighty. Well, I don't have any way to just kill you right away. So I should just try to value you as much as I can. Which I suppose starts with a DRC. Does that resolve?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I guess you're at 3, huh?
Yeah. Is this where you realize you have a bolt in hand?
No. But I do have a Inquisition, trigger surveil.
And then another land?
And then a land, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, another land for the Croxa here. And for the last 3. Yeah, my opener was... It was slightly awkward, but I'm actually really curious what you think about this, if this is supposed to be a mole or not. Yeah, this is my opener. What do you think of that?
Seems fine.
Yeah, I think it's close because it's awkward just not having a threat, and the swamp is pretty messed up, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's not good. But
yeah.
I think I would keep that.
Okay.
I would keep and be very unhappy about it.
Yeah, exactly. But Dress Down was awesome. Dress Down's really awkward with Evoke because it doesn't work that way, but I learned Dress Down with Dash does work the other way, which is silly. Doesn't it seem silly to you?
I understand why.
Yeah.
It is weird.
It's super weird. So yeah, anybody who's playing this, if you dash a Ragavan when a Dress Down's in play, like it doesn't have haste. And it doesn't come up often, but it came up once.
It doesn't
for
have
me.
haste, but it does come back.
Yeah, it was like a Solitude or something on the stack of my Dash Ragavan or something. It doesn't have haste, but it still comes back. And it ended up actually being very bad for me because the judge got the ruling wrong and said that no, it doesn't come back. I was like, yep, I believe you. I have no idea. And then the next turn, I just got my Ragavan rend. I was like, oh, that sucked.
It's because that delayed trigger gets set up before the creature loses its abilities, I think.
Yeah. I
Or
don't
it's just
know
not
for
an ability
sure,
of the
but-
creature. Like it sort of makes sense in my head. I can't really explain why. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not intuitive.
It's pretty tricky. All right, that does it for our first game. We're going to head to the sideboard here and see what kind of hate cards we got for each other. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with our final match here on Versus Live.
Welcome back to Versus Live, where we are sideboarding in our final matchup here between Esper Reanimator and Grixis Shadow. On my side, really just upgrading my Disruption. So getting the 4th prismatic ending and a couple fatal pushes here, both very good in this matchup. So I'm more prepared for the early threats.
Yeah, killed Ragavan there, the game changed.
Yes, yeah, completely. Teferi, I don't think is very good against your threats. Ragavan can dash to kill it, so I get caught in that awkward spot that you saw in game 1 where I want a plus, and then your Unholy Heat just trades for my Teferi. And that's not good. So I'm cutting all my Teferis. Your deck is just too efficient. You do have some counter spells that I can stop, but I have a grief for those or just powering through them. And then I'm going to try one Leyline of the Void. It's pretty good at negating, Lyris in the late game because you can loop it with Soul Guide Lantern. Stops Crocs if you leave that in, or you're sideboarding it out. But it also keeps your Unholy Heats from being able to kill my Archons, and it keeps your DRCs from being real threats. And those two things are really valuable, I think. Not valuable enough that I can bring in a bunch because you don't ever want to draw more than one. But I think the first one is worthwhile if you just have it in your opening hand. It's like a bonus. And then later in the game, it's just so easy to pitch it to Faithful Mending. So these kinds of high impact singleton cards that normally you don't bring in because the downside is too low. When you have a card like Faithful Mending in your deck, you get the luxury of bringing that in because then you can turn that downside into, I'll just pitch it to my Faithful Mending and find something else.
That's honestly a lesson that I learned a lot in Standard right now with Unexpected Windfall. I'm playing a lot more, Standard, there's not as many options, but a lot more high impact cards against matchups.
Narrow cards.
Yeah, really narrow cards that, Burning Hands in the main being another example where I can just pitch them later. So I do like that philosophy. So from my end, I'm leaving in one Croxa, but taking them out because the train wreck scenario of me playing it, you discard Archon, and then you combo me the next turn has definitely come up, even though I really want one late game, but I think one is fine to see on turn 7 if our game goes long. And then the one Kolaghan's Command, this is the main consideration I have had is this one slot, whether it's supposed to be 4th round, 1 Lightning Bolt, AK 5, 1 mana removal spells, 19th land, 8th hand disruption spells. Right now, it's just not that great, but Chalice can really get you, so I like that. There's also Bridge out of Etron and stuff. Whenever I lose to those cards, I really am just okay, this sticks out in my head. And there is times when I can get you with a good, draw step, discard, deal 2 kind of thing. But overall, I think it's a pretty weak card, and I'm close to just getting rid of it. But yeah, Soul Guide Lantern being amazing against you, so happy to play those.
That one doesn't need any explanation.
Soul Guide? Yeah. It hits your graveyard. You play with your graveyard. And honestly, that's one reason why I was very afraid of playing that deck, and I never truly considered it. But that's before, I think it's Spike and Doomwake both just wake up and they're how can I take these really linear, busted combo decks and slow them down and make them less busted, but able to play more of a game? And I think that is, I've been preaching it for so long that modern decks have to be dynamic now. They have to have more than one way of attack. And that's why I could see myself playing that deck now because it does have an extra angle of attack. It's not just dead to graveyard hate, although it is good against you,
Yes.
All right.
Exactly.
All right, let's battle. Battle.
Would it also help you if, Ross was playing the Yorion version of the deck?
Yeah, that would help. Yeah, just add Yorions to everything.
Really not one to mulligan aggressively in a heavy discard matchup. This hand is not great, but I think it's a keep.
I will mulligan aggressively because you don't have that much hand disruption and this hand's unplayable. So yeah, this deck doesn't mulligan that often. Whenever it mulligans, it's the one lander on the player of the draw that doesn't contain Channeler and Bobble. Because if you have a one lander and you have those cards, I still keep them basically every time.
That's like having a one lander with Serum Visions.
Yeah, pretty much. And those are usually the games I lose as well, so maybe I need to...
Every now and again, your Serum Visions bricks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm down to 6.
Mine bricked in game 3 of the finals with Visit Phoenix.
Ooh, did you like that?
But then my Faithful Suiting hit and I won the game.
Okay. That's all that matters. So, pretty clear bottom for this. We want to keep these fetch lands over duels.
Yeah, I'll play a tapped Water Grave.
Okay, I will...
I've never seen this art on Water Grave, by the way.
Yeah.
It's from some sort of secret layer.
Is that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
All right, I'm going to go to 15.
Bringing yourself to 15, and we'll show you a.
What's the over under on all you boomers complaining about losing to a card at some point because you thought it was a different card?
100%. 100%.
The only consideration there is I might be out of the tournament before it comes up.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
In which case, there will still be plenty of complaining.
Plenty of complaining. Okay, so I don't...
3 very different spells here.
Yeah, very different. Like, your deck is some concoction here. If I didn't know this deck, I'd be looking at, like, what on earth are you doing here? So, I don't need to take Prismatic Ending right now with this being my hopeful play next turn. So now it's just which one of these. Am I afraid of you going Unmarked Grave and then maybe just completely killing me? Yeah, pretty much. So I'm going to take that, and I'll pass to you. I'm at 15.
He wants to play straight up.
I want to play some straight up Magic.
I will play a Concealed Courtyard and pass the turn.
Okay. I am going to go with a Thoughtseize.
If he wants to take the Mending, I can just flash it back.
Ooh.
Didn't seem worth it to just cast it in response because I'm not hiding anything.
Yeah, that's scary. And I think I have one choice here, and it's a lot of crossing my fingers and hoping your stuff doesn't line up. So I'm going to take Prismatic Ending. I'll go to 13.
Okay.
Then
So didn't take the ending then because you had it the next turn.
yeah, and then I'm going to go to 10. And hope you don't have something to deal with that, 'cause that's kind of my big finish here, so. Oh, I can't believe you didn't cast that.
Oh, the Mending?
Yeah.
No, I think I'd rather set
You'd
it
rather
up.
wait till yeah, it's not
Yeah.
card advantage. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Once I don't have that, I think my plan is to evoke this Molder for this turn, and then
Okay.
turn 4 I can go Mending, hopefully find Persist,
Okay.
and have everything set up.
I was unsure.
That's my idea here.
Okay.
Let's crack this Flooded Strand and get a Plains,
Okay.
because I already have 2 black mana and 1 blue.
So you're just at 19 now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I will evoke a Muldrifter. Just classic modern play of Divination.
Yeah.
Gotta get that card
Divination.
advantage, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even when there's the Divination at instant speed, Archmage's Charm, no thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be taking Muldrifter.
Can't cast that one with a Plains.
Pretty okay with that with my hand. I mean, I still don't feel great because I don't have a great follow-up next turn, but my hand's okay.
Your hand is okay.
It's been okay. I know what I want, and I think it's another Thoughtseize.
Okay, I will draw 2.
Okay.
And I will pass the turn.
All right, that wasn't it. I will crack fetch.
Not even going to look at the cards. There's no responses I can make. I guess I could have Solitude.
Yeah, you could have
When
could have grief as well.
yeah, but I wouldn't grief that turn anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
Honestly, I would probably try to hardcast grief next turn.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay,
We're going to 7.
Yep, I'm going to 7, and I'll attack.
Let's do the Solitude check.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'll take 6. I'll go to 13.
Okay, pass to you.
That's pretty cool.
Uh-oh. Not excited. I'm pretty afraid.
Let's play Delta.
Okay.
I am going to persist my Muldrifter.
Persist the Muldrifter, eh? I'll draw on it.
Okay, I'll push the Shadow.
Boo! Dead.
And I'll pass the turn.
Okay. Oh, I was going to say back to the drawing board, but at least this was not a bad draw. Soul Guide Lantern.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'll hit Muldrifter, and I'll just pass to you.
Instead of crack the Delta, I go to 12.
Okay.
And now let's just get the other Watery Grave.
12 to 6, right?
I do it 7.
7. Can't read my own handwriting.
Which is why I took 6 from your Shadow
Yeah.
attack.
Yeah, no threat right now, you know, so I either have to just be really patient and draw into one, or try to get Luris aggressively. Not loving either play. Given the time, you usually have the advantage. All your Unmarked Graves and Persist, they're all sorceries, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Huh. I'm in a bit of a weird spot here.
Okay.
I wonder if I screwed up. Maybe I should have baited your counterspell with the Fatal Push. I just knew Shadow is your only threat.
Yeah.
But like this line just kind of leaves me on nothing too, and you got the Lurrus eventually.
I couldn't have countered it because you were on 4 mana. You could have played a land and went Mending, return your thing, I die. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't think I could have done that.
Potentially, yeah. So I'm at...
Yeah, it's a weird game.
Yeah, the awkward thing about this game right now is the Soul Guide Lantern, because normally I would just Turbo Mending and try to set up a kill.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't really do that, so what am I mending into, really? I mean, I guess I
You
should...
just gotta have faith. Full.
And
mending.
if I'm going to do that, do I just... If I'm going to... No, that just doesn't seem like it's going to work. So, yeah, I think I just have to mending.
Okay.
That'll put me to 14.
Mm-hmm.
And I will discard 2 lands,
Okay.
and I will pass the turn.
Okay. So I could be kind of aggressive here and try to draw a card. Kind of risky, but you don't have anything going on in your yard. I bet you just... The things that would make sense to me is you just have a lot of ways to deal with creatures. Nah, I'm just going to draw. Okay. It's an interesting one. Now I think my choices are just buy Lurrus, set up a Death Shadow, or try to play some things. And yeah, I'll play Regavan. Pass to you. Regavan. Regavan.
I will Prismatic Ending Ragavan.
Alright, I'll counter it. I'm thinking I'm going to take your graveyard pretty soon, so I kind of want to aggressively drown just before it becomes a dead card. And maybe it happens and I get to attack.
Pass the turn.
Alright. I will cast a bobble. Bobble you. Okay. I'll attack.
This play is free for Corey. Like to look at first and then attack. He's probably going to attack almost regardless because the treasure and the 2 damage are worth it.
Yeah, I don't know what your hand needs here, so I'm attacking no matter what. You know? Yeah.
But I still think it's probably better to not show you whatever that card is. Give you a random card. Like, it's random to me regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But does the knowledge that you know what it is change? Just no still.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just give myself more information when I flash back to Mending.
I don't know if I'm going to cast it, but it's a consideration.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, so take 2.
I'm a 12.
Okay. And now it's, do I want to draw some cards? Like, kind of. But it puts a card into your graveyard. Yeah, I don't really care about that. So I'll evoke Mo Drifter.
Yep.
Okay, I'll draw 2. Then I will play a land and pass to you.
End step, flashback Mending.
Okay.
Puts me back up to 14.
Yep.
I will discard Line of the Void, Faithful Mending.
Okay, and I'll drop bubble.
Yep. Jesus.
Cheese and rice.
I will cast a Grief.
Good grief. Okay, I'll go to 4. Probably should play the other fetch land. Well, then again, I drew the mountain, so classic. I'll take 2, so I'm at 4. And I will Unholy Heat this.
Sure. Hey, pass the turn.
All right. I will draw. So I kin, Luris, and Bobble. Okay, I'll attack.
I'm at 12.
I can bring back a Death Shadow. That seems like some poor ideas to put your thing back in the yard. So instead, I will 4, 5, 6 buy and actually that's a reason to. Yeah, whatever. If you have it, you have it. Okay, buy and play Luris.
Yep.
And I will play a Bobble. I'll Bobble you. Okay, and then I will Inquisition you. Okay, so Grief, Ephemerate, and I know that. Okay. Yeah, I'll take this. Double check that. Okay. Then I will exile your graveyard. And I will draw a bobble. Say go.
Play a Grief.
Yep.
Pass the turn.
Okay. I will draw. I'm doing this in the proper order of when I draw my good cards, so I'll iterate. I'll put this here. I'll put this into my hand, this on bottom. I will play Lantern, getting nothing. Then I will attack with Ragavan.
I will take 2.
Okay.
Go to 10.
What do you got on top? I'm at 4, huh? Play Grief, huh? And I know you just have 2 Ephemerates, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Corey, did you? Wow. No.
He balled with me the turn before.
No. It was if he tapped blue for the iteration, but I don't think it mattered because you ended up tapping.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I think I did. All right.
You just tap like that for the iteration and
Yeah.
guide.
I might have did it
fine.
in the wrong order.
Yeah.
So
No harm, no foul.
I guess I just don't want to die to actually getting griefed here. So I'm not going to you top decking a removal spell. So I am just going to play Death Shadow and play this land tapped and then just pass to you. And you're at 12?
I'm at 10.
Okay.
Oh, the number of turns where I wanted to draw a land and I draw it the first time, it's just not doing anything.
Yeah, that has been awkward. And every time you've griefed me, it's been nothing, and then I draw Inquisition into Expressive, but that's good enough. Pretty interesting here, because if you attack, I double block. I mean, I'm basically forced to. I could take it, go to 1, and then you can, like, ephemerate to, like, block during my draw step, I guess. But if I have a piece of removal, you're just dead in the spot. Or I double block, and you are pretty priced into killing Luris, but then I just win with these. Like, so the ephemerates are awkward here for sure.
They're not good. Honestly, a lot of it came down to the literal turn I was debating whether to cast the Mending.
Yeah.
And like you hit a Muldrifter when I just had Ephemerate in my hand sitting doing nothing. Muldrifter would have been great.
Yeah. But I mean, those are situational. Like, where
it's a random card versus a random card.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just a feel bad.
It was a feel bad. Maybe you could have some read that I was like, ooh, because I did see that. I was like, ooh.
I'll attack.
Oh, the block.
I will put Luris first. first.
Okay.
I will put damage on the stack. Let's go back 10 years.
Oh,
more than that. 15 years.
I think it's more. Yeah. So
then,
no doubt.
then I can ephemerate and to kill the Luris and then have a blocker still and maybe win this game. Oh, still no.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3.
Oh, baby. I was going to end step sack Lantern and just untap with, well, only Drown, but that was probably good enough.
Not a great showing from the Reanimator deck. I actually did not draw an Archon in 2 games.
I drew
2 of them.
I drew 2 of them. Yeah,
you drew 2 of them. I drew 0.
And I mean, I stopped your Archon from being a thing, but
stopped everything, and I never got to like land counts where I could really start casting my my incarnations and doing cool stuff with them. I also didn't draw Solitude in any game.
That was the interesting one. Like, I mean, even at the end there, Solitude was not good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess it wasn't bad because you get the Solitude, Luris, but I knew you that play was unavailable to you. Well, I guess no, because you had double Ephemerate. If you dropped that Solitude, it was probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah, because I evoke it with 1.
Yeah, but then again, I go up in a lot of life, and then it's just, I got a top deck, but it's a game again, that's for sure.
Yeah, we get back into it. So had a draw there too, but really just didn't get off the ground for the most part. The Rogavan went unanswered.
Yeah.
And your draws just kind of lined up pretty well. I don't know if that's indicative of the matchup, but you do have a lot of great tools. You have discard, you have counter spells, you have graveyard hate, you have pressure. You literally have everything.
It's never been close from my side before, but Solitude changes it, Grief changes it. It just so happened your Griefs didn't line up that well.
Yeah.
But
that was also a problem.
But overall, it's these kind of decks that have to be like Splinter Twin, where you need 2 cards to combo. Death Shadow picks these decks apart. And that's why I like the deck, but don't get me wrong, I have plenty of matchups that I don't feel as good about, that's for sure, that I hope to dodge.
Yeah. Yours are the ones that you're hoping everyone gets the new cards. Like,
I know, Just
you don't want to play against the old card decks.
Anyone want to borrow some Modern Horizon cards that's thinking about playing Burn? I'll borrow to you right now.
We are near the end of the show. Do we have any questions, and then we can wrap it up?
There was one question here where I didn't write it down, like I should have.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's all right.
Just kind of a general question. Given in the current meta, how important do you think it is to aggressively mulligan for some of your for specific cards in certain matchups in a deck? Is it like, are there some that like you definitely should, some that you're just in general you shouldn't?
So it's a near impossible question to answer because it's all contextual to matchups. If I'm playing against Belcher, I have to mulligan pretty aggressively. If I'm playing against a Yorion deck, I'm going to keep a lot of loose hands. Not loose, but I'm going to keep a large majority of hands. But it's really what you're playing against that is the biggest factor, and a little bit of what you're playing with, of course.
It's the texture of the matchup between the two decks.
All texture of the matchup.
But there's a good heuristic to keep in mind here, and it's about generally how long the games are. The longer the games are, the less important the specific cards in your opening hand are, and the more important the number of cards in your opening hand is. The shorter the games are, the more important it is to have your best cards early because you don't have enough time to draw into them. And that tends to happen in linear matchups. Like Corey said, if he's playing against Belcher, he needs to have those Force Negations and the Cascade card. If he's playing that same deck in a control matchup, against his second deck, you say, which is a pretty common matchup, you're going to keep a lot more 7s and mulligan a lot less aggressively because the games are going to go long. You're going to find your cards, and that extra card ends up being important. It's hard to it's always hard to see where that extra card comes into play because it's not, you don't know what the extra card is. Whereas in the other scenario, it's very easy to see what happens when you don't have Force of Negation against a combo deck and you just get slaughtered.
And with fetch lands too, it's like impossible to see how it would have went if you kept the other things and stuff like that.
But generally, over a large sample of matches, you'll find that you just win more. Like you more often you have exactly enough mana on a key turn instead of being 1 mana short because you had 1 extra land because you didn't mulligan or things like that. More often you'll find that the extra, just Planeswalker, you'll be one card deeper so that like the top deck comes on time instead of being a turn late.
Yeah.
Things like that will happen to you more often when you find the right balance in these decisions. That doesn't mean you keep every hand, but your range definitely widens. But keep that heuristic in mind.
Yeah, and it just comes down to playing a lot and learning Modern, what you have to aggressively mulligan. Like one prime example is blue-white control. Let's say I'm playing against the Omnath non-Rhino deck, and my best card is Mystical Dispute. I'm not going to power mulligan to that because of course it's good, but if I just have a good 4 lands, 3 spells, pretty much any of those I'm keeping, But if I'm up against Dredge, just straight up Dredge, am I going to keep just 4 lands, 3 spells without Rest in Peace as often? Definitely not. So you mulligan to those kind of cards a lot. And one other thing I'll say about people that are playing this deck, or just maybe the reasoning why I'm playing this deck, my power mulliganing in this deck is contextually the same against basically everything, because my 2 lands, 2 Thoughtseizes is the same as a hate card against every deck, so it gets a lot easier for me to keep a lot of hands because, well, those cards hit everything, and that's why I like playing it. It's proactive. I know these cards are going to be prepared for every single matchup, just all of them, like, of course, I trim some Thoughtseizes, trim some Inquisitions in certain matchups, but for the most part, if I have a hand with 2 Thoughtseizes, 2 lands, and 1 threat, 1 Ragavan or something like that, I, no matter what, am going to keep against any matchup.
Yeah.
And I like that aspect of the deck. I would say it's idiot-proof, but it's still one of the hardest decks to play. But those kind of, do I power mulligan decisions, this deck is kind of idiot-proof for that.
Yeah. Normally more proactive decks mulligan more aggressively. And I wouldn't say that the Death Shadow is bad at mulliganing, but it's also a very consistent deck because of the points that you raise. So you just end up not mulliganing that often because a wider range of your hands are good.
And I just don't mulligan very often. End of sentence.
So you're just looking for a good mix of stuff.
Exactly.
And your mixes are going to be good regardless of the matchup. And, you can deviate from the heuristic a little bit here and there. A lot of the time, once you know the matchup, now you have a better idea of which removal spells you need versus which you don't, which threats you need versus which you don't.
But even that I've adjusted too. I'm just playing 4 Unholy Heat. I'm not even playing Lightning Bolt anymore because I've just found I have a Lightning Bolt hand. If they're an Omnath deck, God, this is going to be awkward. I have to actually consider mulliganing this.
Yeah.
But now with Unholy Heat just being my only 1-mana removal spell, I don't even know if it's correct, but it feels right, to me at least. But
you're just giving yourself more excuses to keep hands. You're like, okay, this Unholy Heat can kill anything. You're building the deck to your playstyle.
Yeah, my hands do really, when I keep hands at this deck, it revolves around just a meter to me. Once you get towards the too many land meter, 4 lands in your opener, it's ooh, that's too many. Or just 1 landers where I don't necessarily, maybe 1 lander, 2 baubles, but no DRC or something. Oh, that's a little iffy, it's that meter just based on lands for me. Or specific lands, not drawing fetch lands, drawing the duels, 2 steam vents, those are the hands I mulligan.
The awkward basic Death Shadow hand.
Exactly. Those are really my only mulligan decisions. Otherwise, if I have a mix of 3 lands at the most, 4 spells, I pretty much keep them all.
Yeah. And while that changes a little bit when I'm playing a deck like this, a combo control deck, because of the control element, once that element of the deck is fully fleshed out, I get to keep a wider range of hands too, because it's not incumbent on me to set up the combo as quickly as I can.
Yeah.
When it happens, it's great, but I can combo just as well on turn 4, 5, and 6 as I can on turn 3.
Yeah.
And so that means that my random mixes, even if it has an Unmarked Grave that looks awkward, eventually that card is going to become good.
Yeah.
So as long as I've got, that same good mix of lands and spells, a Prismatic Ending is going to deal with any 1-drop that they play, quite literally.
Yep.
I guess once we get to the, is there any 1-mana creature with Pearl White?
Slippery Boggle.
Okay, yeah, the Shroud one. There you go. So you get that flexibility too, while also having that, go over the top game plan. So one of the reasons that I really like this deck as well. So hopefully I don't have to do as much mulliganing either.
And for what it's worth, my middle deck, if in a perfect world where, we could just say our top 3 decks we were considering, this would have been on one of mine as well. But we're not going to play this deck twice, so a little bit for the show aspect there. But blue-white control without having a proactive element, that is something that would have been bumped off to put this deck. I think that's a great deck as well. So, yeah.
The conclusion is we're great, and y'all are great too because you've been subscribing to this channel. Why don't we thank our subs for the day, Rob?
That's true.
All right, we had one for today. The Slee, they subscribed for 2 months. Thank you to them and all of our other subs.
That means you get all of our thanks. No one else gets any.
You did say we thank you, and that is a singular thing. So yeah.
So thank you for that support. If any of you would like to support Star City Games in another way, you can join SCG Premium. $7.99 a month will get you access to exclusive content from our fantastic staff of content creators, as well as 5% off of sealed product, 10% off of singles, and 15% off of supplies. So head on over to starcitygames.com/join-premium. Sign up today.
Absolutely. And it's almost time for a new set. Actually, it's Thursday. Normally, I would say, well, don't not watch our show to check out this cool Wizard show that's going to be on at like noon or 1, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but we're not going to be live on Thursday, so go check that out. It's going to be Crimson Vow's kind of first showcase. We're going to actually start seeing some singles arrive on Thursdays. So for now, we can only pre-order sealed product, but you can be the first one to just have that in your cart, and then when we get sealed product, get sent out to you. Go to starcitygames.com/previews to check that out, and next week, we might already be able to look at some new cards.
Yeah, that'll be... We'll see how that goes. Hopefully we get some nice ones. We can play some decks that aren't Izzet or Snow.
Yeah. Or hopefully, I mean, realistically, new cards, that's cool and everything, but hopefully we just have giant fat checks from winning the Invitational, from going first and second. They still hand out giant checks, right? Like Happy Gilmore?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, metaphorically.
Seriously?
Well, unfortunately, I don't. Since I've worked Invies, which they've all been in Roanoke, I don't think we've actually handed out a big check.
So if we win, we go steal Todd's.
Yeah, if I win, I'm demanding a giant check. Absolutely demanding. I will pay for it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Cedric will just be like, all right, you can have a giant check. Just give us your real check for this event. No problem.
Deal.
I was gonna say you spend all your winnings on the Envy and the giant check, and you're left with let me check notes, $4.53.
Yeah.
That's fine. I want the giant check.
Yeah,
it's very important. I'm gonna put it up in the house. It's gonna be great.
I've always wanted a giant check.
Yeah,
that would
then
be
you
cool.
can put yours like right below Todd's on our memorial wall downstairs.
Yeah.
That way you'll have something to remember me by when I'm gone.
Yeah, we've got Todd's check, and then we have like Anderson's classic winning check. It's
There we go.
Nice
one's for 20K, one's for not 20K.
Hey, that's all right.
Hard to tell which one is which sometimes.
The other one was 40K, right?
Yeah. Next order of business is selling cards, because Star City Games is always buying, and the process has never been easier because there's so many ways to do it.
You're actually doing it right now.
You can use the buy list feature on the website. I didn't do it that way. You can make an appointment and come into Star City Games and do your business in person. That's what I did. It worked well for me. You can mail your cards in and let SCG do the work for you. That would have been slower, seeing as I live... the post office is further away from my house than the...
But people who don't live in Roanoke, that might work for them.
Yeah, it could work. And if your collection is big enough, you can make an appointment and have Star City Games come to you. Also, they'll have the sales booth operating all this weekend at SCG CON with buyers there. So if you want to just bring it in while you're going to be here in Roanoke, you can sell your cards there as well. And do remember that when trading in for store credit, you will get a 30% bonus.
Absolutely. Next order of business, we got the sale. You got all this money that SCG just gave you from all your old cards just collecting dust. You can check out kind of an interesting sale. I think this is the first one I've seen this. This is a bulk lot sale. If you just want to get a ton of Magic cards, like a ton of commons, ton of uncommons, you don't really care what it is, probably really great for people learning the game, right? Maybe really good for like families that are just getting their kids into Magic, want to just show them the ropes, make sure they like it first. That's what it screams to me. So if you want to check out these bulk collection, you can starcitygames.com/sale. Now remember, this sale does end Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So make sure to get it in over the weekend if you want to get a bulk amount of cards.
Yep. And our last order of business is to thank our sponsor, Coalesce Apparel. If you like the shirts that we wear, you can find their entire collection of t-shirts, hoodies, and stickers at coalesceapparel.shop. And be sure to use the gift code SCG when checking out to get 10% off of your purchase there as well.
I officially kept it 100 for the first time. I played my first game of Commander. So I now get the shirt. Didn't get it before.
No, it doesn't count until you play your second game of Commander. You just made it 100. Now you have to keep it 100.
Dang it. Okay. Well, if you've played 2 games of Commander, this is the perfect shirt for you. You heard it here first.
Can you get 2 copies of Yorion as your companion if you play a 180 card deck?
When it'd have to be 160,
Or
right?
160. I
Yeah,
can't do
yeah,
math.
yeah.
All right, I'm done.
No, that
Wouldn't
seems
it be
right.
140? You add 20 each time?
Well, either way, that's not how it works. That's not going to come
Or
up.
is it, do you add a quarter to your deck because you add a third, so you have to add 33 and a third cards, and then you have to add a third of 133, so that's 44 and 2/3, so you have to add 78 cards.
I want to thank you all
That
so
was
much for
literally
watching.
just the Steiner math promo.
I want to thank you all so much for watching this week.
Should be 178
I'm going to
cards.
get us out of here as soon as possible. Now, remember, Thursday, we do not have Versus Live as we are preparing and getting everything set up for SCG CON Invitational this week. So we will be back Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time to either commiserate or do some, elbow high fives here in celebration for us actually doing well at a tournament. Because I've played one and I did really bad and I want some redemption. So for Rob, for Ross Merriam, I'm Corey Baumeister. We'll see you next week.